Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Isle of Man in the UK. This is John and Mike's MMA Corner.
Welcome one and all to John and Mike's MMA Corner.
MMA from a different angle.
And before we kick off with obviously our usual saga of laughter and seriousness, professionalism, we're going to start by asking you all to jump onto Facebook, Twitter, the lot really, the social networking sites, and give some of our esteemed colleagues a follow, because their hard work really helps not only us and yourselves, but just MMA grow. So first up we have MMA Scotland. We'd like you to also jump onto UFC Wreckage on Facebook. Their Twitter handle and their website is MMA Wreckage.
We also have MMA UK, and their Twitter handle is We Are MMA UK.
Jump on to Facebook to Fighting and MMA.
We also have on Facebook and Twitter The Real MMA Talk.
And last but not least, they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're on Twitter. Can't miss them. If you like a giggle, you like a laugh, jump onto Funny MMA, kind of putting a light-hearted view on the aspects of MMA and the goings-ons.
I thought it was serious.
Exactly. So that's what you want to jump onto. Now what we're going to do is jump straight in to this week's edition. And another week is happening with MMA, and decided this time to have a fantastic co-host in Will Martin. Sir, thank you very much for coming on and joining me this week.
No problem whatsoever. It's been an absolute privilege for me to come on here. You and Mike, as we've been kind of been talking beforehand, it's like a couple of good friends of mine met you through in Glasgow for the first time. I've actually seen you at other events before, but got speaking to you in Glasgow, and it's an absolute privilege to be on.
And ladies and gentlemen, Will does UFC fight picks on YouTube. We will obviously plug that a few times. Yeah, but yeah, Will, I've got you on because I like what you say and what you do. And look, I'm going to start off first by letting everyone know who's going to be on interview-wise. We've got 9 people on, I know, ladies and gentlemen, 9. Absolutely stacked. Okay, the first one, I'm going to get this out of the way because it's a bit of a mouthful. I've got Damir Ferhatbegovic. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so Damir's on, and he's fighting on the upcoming Valor Fights. You got Charlie Alexander, Jason Wolf, Dustin Usher, Felipe Portela, Jesse Grun, and Sam Samples. These are all fighting on Valor Fights. Then on Titan FC on the 4th of March, you've got Jose Torres making his pro debut. He was originally meant to make it on the last Titan card, but that all went tits up and fell through. He is now fighting Travis Taylor when he was originally meant to fight George Dominguez. So I spoke to Jose when he was meant to fight Dominguez, and then the opponent literally got changed the other day, and I spoke to Travis. So me and Jose talk about Dominguez, so ignore that bit. I didn't edit it. I thought I'd let it be how it is. So we've got these guests coming on later on. At the end, I'll stick all these on at the end because I'm just mixing it up this week. So me and Will are going to jump into it. We're going to talk about some of the fights from the Cerrone Oliveira card that just went by in Pittsburgh. First thing, it was on a Sunday night, so I think it caught a lot of people out in the UK because everyone had to decide whether they were going to stay awake or go to bed and get up for work on time. And I don't mind. I do not mind these Sunday cards because the NFL season is over in the States, and so it's a good idea to try and take that market for the UFC, to take those guys who watch the NFL. Like, obviously, it's a physical sport, so they hopefully try and get on that bandwagon. I think it's a good move myself.
Yeah, I think it's a great move personally. Personally, for me, my days off are Sunday and Monday, so it couldn't work out any better for me. And what you meant to do on Sundays now with no NFL, so perfect for me. I think it's hopefully. I think from what I've seen, they're going to be doing that with the European cards in Zagreb and Rotterdam, and potentially with the US cards as well. I like the idea of that personally.
I do, yeah. It's a smart move. I think you might see the UFC getting some numbers from that as well. Like you said, there's no NFL on now, and that is a big gap in the market. Especially, I think the USA population's 400 million. It's a smart move. So, some of the fights. What fights for you stood out, Will, on that kind of Pittsburgh card?
The fight that really kind of stood out to me was Garbrandt. Now, I'm a big Cody Garbrandt fan. I have been for a long time. I was a fan before I heard about him before he even got into amateurs, and because I have been for a long time a big kind of Uriah Faber Team Alpha Male guy, or a fan I should say, and there was talk of him going to Sacramento, and I actually watched his first fight back on YouTube on the Sunday after he fought, and he actually got knocked out in the first punch that was landed against him, and but since then I've been a huge fan of Cody Garbrandt, and his fight, I thought he fought really, really smart. I thought he came out a little bit kind of tentative, but I think this win here against Tanquinho, I think 2 or 3 years down the line, this is going to be a really good win in his record, because Tanquinho's a really good fighter. I think he's going to progress with his striking to try and, I don't think he'll ever match his jiu-jitsu, but I think that he'll be a really good fighter in that division. But Garbrandt, I thought, looked fantastic. I thought Mario Yamasaki looked like dog shit. He needs to make a decision whether he's going to jump in and jump out or stopping fights.
Yeah. But
Garbrandt kind of stood out for me. I thought Lauren Murphy looked fantastic after a kind of a bit of a slow start. I think her opponent was actually, people were really not giving her too much of a chance, and I think with a full camp, that fight could have been a lot different than what the outcome was. But I thought Lauren looked good, Cody looked good, and there was some stuff. Derek Brunson, just totally, I think this guy is totally underrated. I've never been his biggest fan per se. For some reason he blocked me on Twitter when I've never followed the guy, so I don't know how I managed that one. But no, there was a few standouts on that card.
Yeah, Derek Brunson, he's one of them ones where, since he had that fight with Yoel Romero, I think he went into the back burner of the middleweights, and people didn't really pay attention. And like you say, I think he's 3 wins, 3 finishes, and especially Canario, who's a guy he's 37, and the UFC were trying to push him quickly up the ranks, similar to Romero, because they knew that if he has got it in him to do a title run, they've got to get it in quick. And yes, he's been in the UFC before, but I think Brunson really just first round as well. He didn't even look like close, that fight.
No, I didn't.
Like, Brunson was just a bully. He just absolutely smothered him. I was very impressed with that fight myself, because I was a bit unsure how it would go because of the experience that that Brunson doesn't have over him, and I thought, again, you were right about Garbrandt. It was Cody kept the strikes at a distance and he finished with how he should have he finished with a 2-1-2, a right, left, right, and that was beautiful, because he used straights as often as he could just to keep that fight a gap, because every time he did close it down, he shot for guard once at one point as well. He tried to pull guard, and it was, I would have done the same, because if I'm a jiu-jitsu wizard, I would do the same, but Cody did the right thing, and like you say, beautiful footwork, cutting off in the angles, using the straights, and that's what got him the win. I'll tell you one fight there. Well, a couple of little things to talk about was Joe Riggs. I spoke with James Lynch. He's probably got to retire, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I think just the amount of injuries he's had, and I think I actually said it as soon as the fight finished that he broke his his arm.
Yeah.
I kind of noticed that straight away, but the guy can't really keep putting himself through this. I don't think he's shooting himself, and he's going in there and getting injured, and it's just I hope he actually walks away, because I think it was Brad Scott I spoke to one time, and he says he's a really, really good coach, and he's really good to learn off, so hopefully he goes back to the MMA lab and he just kind of does that, and he's kind of set for life teaching. So
well, that's the thing, he's just so knowledgeable, because he's been around for so long and done so much. He has got it, and you think there's got to be something outside of him for him. Another performance that I was kind of impressed with, a guy who I felt possibly needed a win, was Dennis Bermudez. And considering he went in he had 2 losses under his belt, and then he goes in against a man who's got 2 wins in a row. I was a little bit tentative on this fight. I was a bit nervous, but I was happy that Bermudez got the win. I like Dennis Bermudez.
Yeah, I think I thought he could have finished the fight personally. I thought if he kind of pushed it a little bit more, he could have got out of there with a stoppage. But he's he's actually a really nice guy to meet. I met him in Vegas last year, and talks away, really, really good with the fans. he had an absolute war with Jeremy Stevens at UFC 189.
Sure.
But one performance I really liked, I think this guy, you really need to watch him, is this Oluwale Bamgbose. I think this guy is so unorthodox.
Yes.
Like his movement, like he was literally reaching for the ankle before he threw that high kick. And I've never been, I was a fan of Daniel Sarafin when I watched him back on the Tough Brazil show, but the guy is like the chubbiest middleweight I think I've ever seen in my life. And I think this Bamgbose, he came in against Uriah Hall in his debut, and Hall's a tough out for anybody on your debut, but he came in short notice as well. But this guy, I think he's got speed, he's got power. Whether he's kind of got the gas tank to kind of go deep into the fights is another thing altogether, along with his grappling. But really scary guy I wouldn't like to face. I wouldn't mind seeing Bamgbose against maybe Chris Camozzi next up. I think getting someone with a bit more experience that's coming off a couple of wins over Watson and Riggs. I don't think that would be a bad fight whatsoever.
No, that's a nice matchup. I like that as well. And like you say, he is really unorthodox, and it's nice to get someone like that as well. He's an interesting mix into that kind of middleweight division. I think he's and especially you saw the difference with a full fight camp. He did look very impressive, and you think, again, with the Uriah Hall thing, if he had a full fight camp, it might have been different, because Uriah Hall, I feel, he is like a light switch. Some days he's on, some days he is off.
Yeah, so I mean, I quite like watching Uriah Hall. I think he's just, if he could, that light switch can just turn on like he did against Musasi, then him and Bamgbose are going to be dangerous guys in that middleweight division, because they've just got so many tools that other people haven't got, but I don't think they've got the kind of mental mentality to kind of put it all together. Hopefully Bamgbose does, because I think I rate the guy a little bit. I think he's going to be a scary guy in that division, so hopefully we see him fairly soon, because it was a quick win.
Now we're going to go on to the greatest card that happened at the weekend as well, was Bellator. What I liked as well, Bellator announced, well, do I like it? I'm not sure. It was a bit of a crazy whirlwind. What's happened in the past week, I suppose, was Spike got rid of Glory, then suddenly Bellator Kickboxing comes along, UFC snap up Glory, UFC Fight Pass snap up Glory. It's a bit of a crazy whirlwind, to be fair, but all that happened amongst the trilogy. The Gracie versus Shamrock fight happened, and then you had Kimbo Dada, and there's a couple of other fights I want to mention. Linton Vassell getting the win against Emmanuel Newton. That was a very good win.
Yeah. I like camps. I'm a big fan of kind of different camps. I've already mentioned Team Alpha Male. I'm also a huge fan of Rufus Sport. And Emmanuel Sanchez was on this. He was on that card. He came through a very kind of tough matchup against Daniel Pineda. He's a kind of king of getting split decisions. He kind of comes alive with the longer the fight goes. So I was happy with that victory for him. But I think, Linton Vassell, even though he ruined my bet for the night, I thought he looked fairly good. Emmanuel Newton, I don't know where he's kind of at the minute, but I thought Vassell he did what he needed to do, and he got the decision victory. So, but the top two fights in that card were. I'm a kind of guy. I'm a fan of the up and comers, and seeing something like that, it kind of. It worried me a little bit, especially I started to cringe through the middle of that Slice and Dada fight. It wasn't great. When you consider some of the talent that Bellator has, it just kind of puts me off. I'm not the biggest fan of the freak show fights, but the ratings came through and they knocked out the park. So if that's what they're going to do, I just hopefully they do those fights and get your Will Brooks, whoever else is coming up through, your Michael Chandlers, put them on through there and let's get them a bit more recognition, because that's what they need to do to build stars. Otherwise, they are not going to. I'm not saying they're not going to stick around. I just don't think they're going to move themselves forward.
No.
But if we're talking about this Bellator Kickboxing, if there's one reason to watch Bellator Kickboxing, her name is Anastasia Yankova. She's hot. She's one of the most beautiful girls I've ever seen. My missus caught me looking at pictures on her one time, and she was not too happy, but she is a really good fighter, and she transitions into MMA as well, so we may see her on MMA in the future as well. She
is ridiculously attractive. It's painful how she can look that good. It's not fair. I'm with you on that one. Yeah, Yeah, the Kimbo Dada, it was infuriating because I thought it was almost like a disgraceful look upon MMA, because you thought that is a co-main event on the second biggest promotion in the world, and like that's just embarrassing. And you think about all the guys in the world that work their ass off in MMA to get somewhere, to be something, to do something in their lives, and that gets to that level. And what frustrated me as well was Kimbo trains at ATT. He should have a lot more he should have a lot more cardio, and he should have had that fight finished. He just looked like he did not put the effort in to get fit. Dada isn't fit anyway. He's just a fat lump. That's all he is. You know, I don't care. I'd say it to his face. I'd even fight him because, do you know what? I know he'd gas after 3 minutes. You know, he didn't know what on the ground. All he tried to do was power out of the transitions. Instead of using technique, he just tried to power out, and that just blew. He just blew his gasket as soon as he did that. Melvin Gillard. He missed weight again, and he got finished. I think Melvin. I think he kind of put the stamp on his career, saying he is finished. In my thoughts, because that's just, unless he goes to Rizin in Japan and can have a random weight class where he doesn't have to make 155 and have these crazy fights, I don't see anything else for Melvin.
No, I'm the same. I think the last time he fought in Houston, he fought Joe Lozon, and since that fight, it's never looked the same. I don't think he came out for that fight, and he was so hyped up for that fight, and then he was tapping out very, very quickly. Since then, he's never ever been the same, and it's a shame because he's such a cool cat. He's a really fun guy to be around. When he fought, I think it was Manchester. I can't remember.
Against Ross Pearson.
Ross Pearson, and that was the time that I think Tito was supposed to face Rampage or something like that, and somebody pulled out, and I mean, this guy was kicking about at 2 a.m. in the morning in the bar, and he was just full of life, and he's a really cool cat. But I think I'm with you in that one. I don't know where he really goes from here, because his kind of professionalism's kind of being tarnished a little bit with not making weight so much, and hopefully it turns out good for him. But I think maybe a step away from the sport might be a good thing for him.
Gracie Shamrock, we'll talk about it briefly. It was a knee in the bollocks. Let's put it this way right now, okay? Because I don't like getting hit in my family jewels whenever I'm doing sparring. It doesn't feel nice, and it was a clear as day knee. Now, I do not mind a rematch because of that incident, and I think, I'm not saying it should get overturned by the commission, but at the same time, I don't mind if they do another rematch, because it did finish in a very poor manner like that. Like they say TKO, there wasn't even any ground and pound. It looked like Gracie was just slapping him on the face.
I say I would rather not see it personally, but there is kind of grounds for it to happen again. I can see that. But say I think there was a whole load of things kind of went on. There was the Texas Commission were a bit of a joke that night as well. Texas has always been a kind of a dodgy area for MMA when they go down there. But I wouldn't, if the fight happens again, so be it. But I wouldn't mind actually seeing Hoist Gracie against maybe Herschel Walker, or there's talk of, I think Sean Shuck's name has been kind of brought up as well.
Yeah.
Either of the fights, but you can make Shamrock and Gracie again. See, the numbers are going to dictate everything here. And the numbers were kind of monumental for that card.
Another one would be Dan Severn coming up against Hoist.
That's actually a really good.
He said he'd do it. He said he'd be up for it ages ago. I remember messaging him, and he's still up for it. He's in his mid-50s, and he's like, I'm down. And
jeez, man, that'd be...
He's a monster.
Something, so it would.
And he only retired a couple of years ago, which sounds a bit weird, but do you know what? I love it. I don't care, because I'm a bit of a nostalgic. I would watch it.
Well, see, I don't think they can really go away from that now. They're going to have to stick to their guns, because see, they really haven't got much talent coming through. So they're going to have to stick with these fights, maybe like a Tito versus Rampage, or Tito versus Kimbo versus Rampage. I mean, they're going to have to start kind of keep doing these fights, but just hopefully they can get fighters coming up through, because like the places where they're doing the shows, I mean, Texas, they had fighters like Sage Northcutt coming up. I know he's a bit of a kind of, people that are kind of either with him or they're kind of against him. But they went to, I think they fought, let me see, the card before I think was in California. I mean, you've got people in Team Alpha Male I speak to a few guys through that they've got talent coming through that nobody knows. You've got Mario Soto, you've got Anthony Avila, you have Derek Formoso, Michael Nagakawa. They've got fighters there that they can potentially build, but they're just not doing it, and it's just and like they pull the fights when the fights kind of break down. They don't really get them replacements, and I think they could be chips for Bellator in the future, but they just don't do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that can be done there. I think if they use like these marquee fights as the main events and have the guys underneath on the kind of main card to help build them up, because the thing is, like you say, it gets the numbers of people watching the card, but to get to see these new faces and these potentials, if they can maybe balance it out by using them to help build them up, and then in time just get away from the marquee and then just have these rising stars as their kind of main events, I'd understand it. I think as well, by the way, I forgot to say, Chandler is fighting Josh Thompson.
Oh yeah, I actually remember that being announced now.
Yeah.
Because I listened to Will Brooks, and so like he hasn't got a fight lined up.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a father, and but it's a good fight to make. But I'm a fan of Will Brooks. I hope they kind of use him a little bit better, because I think from what I'm hearing, he's going to test free agency. We may see him in the UFC fairly shortly, because I think the UFC will go after him. But we'll just need to wait and see. I think he's a top 15.
So. I reckon they would.
Yeah,
he'd be a good addition.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a good addition to it.
Yeah, I think he would be as well. I think he's definitely a top 15 kind of lightweight. Whether he breaks into that top 10 is kind of another story, but he comes from a great team. He's beat some good guys. So hopefully he kind of gets his opportunity, because I think he's been kind of treated, I think he's kind of shot himself in the foot a little bit with some of his comments and that in the past, but he's a good fighter, and he's a chip for that company if they use him correctly, which I don't really think they are.
I don't think they are either, mate. So we'll go into this week. It's this weekend. There's a handful of cards going on. I was looking to talk about, like, say, the Marcus Galvao and Eduardo Dantos fight, but that's not happening now, because Galvao as well, he fell ill and apparently got took away on a stretcher from the hotel, I've heard. Now, I don't know how serious it is or what it is. I don't know if it's because of the weight cut that's just dehydration and he's probably internal organs kicked out on him or something. I'm not sure. I hope he's probably going to be okay once he gets a load of IVs in him. But they've moved up Czech Congo and Queiroz up to the main card. I want Bellator to introduce this heavyweight title. I want they're investing in the heavyweight division a bit more. Because I don't feel like put enough effort into that heavyweight division.
No, they don't. So I do think there's talents out there that they could go and get to bring in, maybe make it a bit competitive. There's always people out there, but they just don't seem to do it, and it's. I think was it Karatonov? Did they sign Karatonov?
They did.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
They did. So they could have built him around. I thought over him. I think the UFC kind of played a pretty good card by saying that we're going to go to the Netherlands, we're going to Rotterdam. As soon as I heard that, I thought, right, there's no way that Alistair Overeem's going to go to Bellator, considering, because they're going to give that fight to Alistair. But there's something, I really actually love watching Bellator, but there's some things that really put me off, like this, like their stagnant heavyweight division. It's not good to see.
It's not, mate, no. Hopefully, this going up to the main event might push Scott to maybe put a bit more effort in with the heavyweight division. I hope so. I hope maybe the winner of this, there's a title up for grabs or something, because they need to make a bit of effort with it, in my opinion. Especially the guys in the heavyweight division, they're just going unnoticed. Justin Wren, he's winning. He won last weekend. He's knocking out the wins.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying as well. Like, he hasn't been around that much. We obviously knew him way back in the UFC back in the day, but this guy's doing exceptional things, and this is the things they should really be putting on TV, or at least an opportunity to put himself out there, because he's doing great things. Like, he's not only fighting, he's doing things that are helping other people, and this is stories that could bring other people into this to watching Bellator. But they just don't seem to kind of grasp that type of thing, and it's a shame. But I would say Justin Wren is a guy that I think it's brilliant seeing him come back after, I think it was 5 years away.
5 years,
He's won a couple of fights, so it's great to see. He's a good guy.
He is. I think you're right there, mate. If they did like a feature with him, they would get numbers. They get people from outside that wouldn't maybe look at twice at Bellator, and they'd get maybe a bit more interest. They should be doing stuff like that, but they're not. We're going to go to the BAMA card coming up this weekend as well, because BAMA is happening in Ireland, and they're having they're calling it England versus Ireland, but the thing is, the main event is not England and Ireland. So, but what threw me off was the fact they got these team captains in Sprong and Barnett, and I just don't understand this, because they don't coach the guys. So the only relevance they have is standing there on the night. I think this is another silly. But BAMA have done a few things that grind on me, and this is one of the things that they're just doing this for publicity, and because there's no relevance to them being there. If they make no difference to them to being there to the fight's performance.
Yeah, I mean, they're bringing like Tyrone Spong. Just bring him in as a guest fighter. Just bring him in as a guest.
Yes.
Don't put him as a team captain. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. But I say, to be fair, like, there is some really good fighters, there's some up and comers on this card. But I say, I'm not the biggest BAMA fan. I went to a few of the cards a long time ago, and that kind of sat with me ever since. I'm a Cage Warriors guy myself. But I say they do put on some good fighters, and they have got some good fighters in their ranks and up and comers as well. Yeah,
they have, and that was the thing when Cage Warriors went. It just really worked for BAMA. They just kind of, they went cha-ching, happy days. We're going to take a load of their fighters as well. As soon as Graham starts tweeting about stuff about Cage Warriors coming back, they actually is snidey remarks from the BAMA staff about some of the stuff he says, and you're kind of sitting there thinking, like, how old are you lot? You know what? You need competition, firstly. Yeah. Secondly, if you're clearly threatened by it if you're making these snidey remarks. But you're right. They've got a couple of good fights on. They've got Nathan Jones, who's a very talented welterweight coming up through the ranks UK wise, against Peter Queally. Cracking little fight. Yeah, good matchup that one. I like that one myself. We spoke before. We've got your boy coming up on the Tom Fire Kid. I'm going to say Duquesne, but
Duquesnoy.
It's the same.
That's easy.
If it's French, I don't do accents. And
that's what we know about.
Against Damien Rooney in this, like, they call it like a bantamweight super fight. It's a bit of a weird thing, but it's a bantamweight fight. Don't know why they need super fight in there. But it's an interesting matchup. Like we've spoke before, Damien Rooney went down to 125. It did not suit him at all. But at 135, he's a bit of a beast, and I think you're going to find the Fire Kid's going to have a bit of a kind of education when he goes up into that kind of into that fight, I think, and I look forward to it though. It's going to be an interesting bout.
Yeah, I'd say I think I'm a betting guy myself. I love a little bit, and Damien Rooney is 3-1 to win this fight. I think that's a big ask for Duquesnoy to go and beat Damien Rooney in Ireland as well. I don't think it's all that easy. I think he's in for a tough night personally, but say like there's up and comers in this card that I think in 3-4 years are going to be big names in the sport. I mean, Dylan Took is a guy who I met in Dublin when I was at the UFC event. He just come off his first win at BAMA. A really shy kid, but a really nice kid as well. And there's like Rhys McKee's another guy that I've known a little bit about. Nathaniel Wood against Alan Philpott. I think it's a great fight. So
great fight,
they have got good fights on the card. Really, I'll catch up with some of them on the Sunday afternoon when I have my day off. So
yeah, you're right. Connor Cook against Matt Holman, Holam. Bloody hell, Farmers. But there is, like you say, there are some good matchups, and there's some people to keep an eye out for. Just as I'd say it's the start of the career. It's the start of getting building up their career to potential, superstardom. Let's say, getting to the UFC ranks, and it's definitely worth keeping an eye out and watching them just so you can see them progress. I love doing it myself. I love seeing names, and it is a nice thing to watch. We'll talk then about UFC London. It's happening right now. Okay, well, not right now, but it's happening this week. Let's say it's fight week. Now, there is a handful of cards and a handful of fights on the card. Is there any particular ones that for you stand out?
I'm very interested to see. Obviously, you've got the main event, which kind of stands alone from anything else on the card, but I'm really looking forward to seeing Tom Breeze again. I think this guy is an absolute killer. Yeah. And I think within 18 to 24 months, I think within probably the end of this year, the welterweight division are going to really know who this guy is. the guy is huge. The guy's the size of a heavyweight. You wouldn't believe it. He fights at welterweight. He's massive. He's a huge, tall guy. He's got a huge frame. And his display last time out against Cathal Pendred, his boxing display was unbelievable. Now I know that Pendred's he's not too bad, but he's like Tom Breeze. When I was sat there in the crowd watching him, he just shined out like star talent to me. And the other one that I really want to speak about is Brad Pickett. I love Francisco Rivera on the other side, but I am really wanting a Brad Pickett win this weekend, because you won't meet a nicer guy in the whole entire sport than Brad Pickett.
Oh, love Brad. Had him on
a
handful of times. Just, you know, and I've had a lot of laughs with him outside of it. I've told this story before, but when we were in Glasgow, when we were all up in Glasgow, he was with Mike Brown. He was with Mike Brown.
Mike Brown, yeah.
And I was like, bloody hell, Mike Brown. I was like, fucking hell, he's a legend. And I was like, oh, Mike, can I get a picture? And he's like, yeah, sure. And so I stood there, and then Brad comes up behind, and he's a prankster. Brad Pickett is a prankster, and he pulled down my shorts in the middle of the hall, like at the kind of entrance to the hotel where everyone was, all these fighters and everyone. Pulls me bloody shorts down in front of everyone, and I'm just like, because I didn't realise what was going on, because Mike, who was holding the camera, was pointing the camera down towards my crotch, didn't even cotton on, and Brad sneaking up.
I actually think when we were in Glasgow, remember, I think we were in the entranceway, and Brad was actually standing on the stairs, and we must have spoke to him for a good 20 minutes.
Yes, we did.
I think if I remember right, so, and he's just like, he gives you so much of his time, and that's coming off probably one of his worst defeats of his career, and he's just top class. He uses class, does Brad Pickett, and that's why I really want him to see him come through. I think he can do it. I think he can use his wrestling against Rivera here, and use his aggressiveness like he did with Neil Seery the last time they fought in London. Seery was piecing him up in the feet, and he used his wrestling, and his wrestling is really underrated. He showed that years ago against Demetrius Johnson, so I'm hoping for a Brad Pickett win this weekend.
I feel you're right, because again, with Brad as well, since he's gone back up to Bantamweight, you know, to be fair, he absolutely mollywopped Thomas Almeida.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He totally, when I was in the crowd, I was shocked, because obviously Almeida is this guy coming through, he's knocking out everybody. But for that first 6 minutes of that fight, probably, he totally dominated that fight, and it just shows you Almeida's kind of killer instinct that he's got, that he'll throw stuff like that. But he was winning that fight very, very handily. I think he'd put him down twice in that first round, and I don't think he's done yet. I think flyweight, the guys were just far too quick for him down there. He couldn't get his hands on them. I think this is the division he should have always been at, and having fights like this with Rivera, who might get in a little bit of firefight, but I think he needs to fight smart if he wants to win this fight.
Yeah, you got to think, because like with the Lineker fight, you know, Rivera will stand, and he can get enticed to go toe to toe. So it's one of them ones where, but Brad, like you say, we know he's got the power. I tell you, a fight that I am now, I liked the sound of it at first, but then I am more enticed now because of what happened in the lobby at the Fighters Hotel. They had a bit of a dust up, which was Khabibulov and Park. Literally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm interested in that now, because there's a bit more venom. There's more spice to that fight now than. And you think to yourself, I like it when there's something like that going on. A bit of spice to a fight, that gets me right in.
It adds things. I mean, in Dublin when I was there, you obviously had the weigh-ins with Park and Madadi.
Yes,
and
the bag.
I think I was there on the Wednesday. I think I flew in the Wednesday, and they were just standing looking at each other. If you've been to the Gibson Hotel, it's quite a big entranceway once you go up the top from the elevators to the other elevators on the other side, and they were just kind of staring at each other, and you were thinking, well, that's going to be a good fight. And then you go to the weigh-ins, and it gets accentuated, and the fight was. I thought the fight was all right. I thought Norman Park showed little bits of improvements. But I think this is a really tough fight for Park. He kind of trades wins and losses a little bit, but it's going to be. I find it when I did my predictions for this video, I did a bit of tape study. I just don't see how he really beats Khabibulov. I think Khabibulov is going to eventually take him down. He's going to suplex him down. I know that Park has got really good takedown defense. He's got that judo background, but I think that Khabibulov is going to find a way, and I think he hits harder as well. So. Close fight, but I edge Khabibulov in this one.
I do as well, my friend. I looked at it. And I think he is just his grappling and the way he can transition his grappling is, I think it's cleaner as well than Parks.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a couple of fights on that. Like we're really looking forward to the return of Davy Grant against Marlon Vera. It's just, Davy Grant.
How do you see that fight going?
Do you know what? I'm a bit to and fro because I wonder because Davy Grant's been out for a while. Does he feel any pressure being out for that long, coming back in? If Davy Grant is relaxed and prepped right, I think he can put Vera away because, Vera. I watched Marlon Vera on the Ultimate Fighter. He's still a very raw fighter.
Yes.
I you know what? I had a big soft side for him because of the story with his little girl and stuff like that, and then the UFC paid for the operation. But then you have to cut that stuff away, and you have to look at the talent and what they've got. I think Davy Grant is a more, I like Davy Grant as a fighter. I think as long as Davy Grant can pace himself as well, because he's been out for a while, and that fight conditioning. I don't care what Dominic Cruz says, but if Davy Grant goes out there with an adrenaline rush trying to finish the fight quickly, and he could just shoot his load, and then that's him trying to win a fight then and try and drag out a decision. I think if Davy paces himself well, I think he'll find the time and find the gaps.
I think so. Like, both guys are very good when they go to the ground, very, very good. Most of the wins are via submission, but I think stand-up's going to be. I think Grant actually has the better stand-up than Vera, but the betting lines I think are a little bit off. I think this is a pick and fight personally, and they've got Davy Grant as the favourite, and they've got Vera as the underdog. Saying my predictions on my YouTube channel, I've went with Marlon Vera. I ring rust, 2.5 years not fighting. That it screams out to me to go with underdog in this fight, and I don't think I'll bet it. I was contemplating earlier on, but I don't think I will. But I say this. When you look at I'm looking at the card now, I just think there's good fights. There's fighters that people don't know too much about, probably stateside don't know too much about. Yeah. I mean, there's Arnold Allen, who in Glasgow is just top class. Yes. And another guy I think that may kind of surprise people, it says Thibaut Gauthier from France. I watched some taping, and this guy's good. Very good.
He's stepped in, hasn't he, short notice, didn't he? Because Team Lou, or I can't remember the pronunciation now.
Pakalan, yes.
Yeah, he got injured. I saw that.
He's, when you look at, because his fights are on YouTube, and he beat Anton Kovanin, who is a UFC veteran, a very tough guy, went to Finland and beat him. And he's good on the ground, he's very patient on the ground, but he has strikes as well, where Pakalan is kind of mostly a grappler. He showed that against Lebu in Glasgow, that once he got it there, he knew what he was doing, but on his feet he was a little bit sloppy, but it was short notice on that. But Arnold Allen's another guy. I think me and you both, we know who Arnold is, and he's a really top prospect.
He is, and he's up at TriStar now a lot more often. So, and he's just training with killer after killer. So, I think we're going to see probably even more rounded and more sharper Arnold this time than we did last. So, I look forward to it.
It's a good fight for him as well.
It is, yeah.
Mesa's, he really hasn't. He doesn't shine in any area of his game, but he's solid all around. But I think that Allen's got too much speed. He's got too much power. And I think he stops Mesa as well. So
I think probably maybe round 2 or 3 he probably get that finish in. I mean, what
was I going to say? Alan Omer. I mean, he was down. He was losing that fight, and he showed like huge cojones to come through and find that submission. He won himself a bonus, and that was in short notice as well. Yes,
that was.
It's a big win. I say I'm a really big admirer of Arnold, and I think it's a really good fight for him this weekend.
I'd tell you a big fight for someone. Scott Askham against Chris Dempsey. Scott after his last fight against Jotko, and again, Scott's another one where he's losing one, winning one, losing. He's a guy. He's almost turned into the Tom Watson of the British middleweights. Just can't string those wins, but he's kind of got the skill set, but he just can't seem to put it all together.
Yeah, I think this is a tailor-made match for him, though.
Yeah,
I think that. I think against Jotko, if I remember right, I remember watching the fight back again. Jotko kind of had his way with him on the ground a little bit, but I think he busted up on the feet. Dempsey is predominantly a wrestler. I think he fought in Dublin against Latifi and got blasted. Yeah. he got too aggressive, rushing in against Latifi and got caught with a shot.
Got caught, yeah.
Last fight against Jonathan Wilson, it was at 205, tried rushing in, got caught, got put to sleep. I think Askham's got the power to put him away, and I see this being another finish for Askham. But Scott Askham is he's a really, really cool guy. He brings so many fans. You don't realise that how many fans this guy brings from England. He did it in Dublin. They were only sat maybe 20 yards to the right of me, and there was at least 150 to 200 of them in that crowd. So that tells you something about the guy. He's got a lot of support.
He does, man, and he is a lovely guy. I've had him on here. He's a great guy to talk to. But I tell you what, I think Bradley Scott's got the one hell of a fight against Jotko. You know, coming back from surgery on his shoulder, Jotko, he put on a good performance against him, and I think Bradley Scott's a little bit too slow, and Jotko's been training up at I think it's Tiger Muay Thai, maybe somewhere like that in Thailand. He's definitely sharpening up his striking, and he's got a bit of that speed, and I think that's what will make Bradley Scott come undone in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, Brad Scott. You don't meet in the sport of MMA. You don't meet too many bad guys. No. I've never met too many bad guys. And I think the last time he fought over this side of the pond was in London the last time against Silva, and I thought he personally probably should have won that fight, but I don't know whether he's been out of the MMA lab. I don't think he's really got the finances to really get himself out there at the minute, so it'd be interesting. Jotko's a guy that I think if he was a little bit better in a certain area, I think he'd be a really tough guy in that division, but I would say my pick this week for that is Brad Scott. One of the things I said for 2016, I think if it's a close matchup, I'm going with underdog, and it served me right. I had Ashley Evans Smith last week. I had Wonderboy the weekend before, the event before that. I've had a few come through for me already, so I like Brad Scott personally. Okay,
then one fight I think that people are going to look over, only because the guy's quiet in my opinion, but I tell you what, he is one hell of a guy to look out for. Amir Khani fighting Mike Wilkinson.
Oh yeah.
That fight, people are overlooking Mike Wilkinson in my opinion, because that dude...
I agree. People are disrespecting Mike Wilkinson, and Nicholas Backstrom did that last time, and Nicholas Backstrom was looking at the lights when he woke back up again, so good fight, really good fight.
Yeah, I love that fight too, my friend. I think it's a good one. Obviously, Breeze, I like I said, I'm with you, mate. I think Breeze is going to smoke it. Now, Talis Latis against Greg Almusasi. I spoke with James Lynch about this one. We both pick Latis in this fight, and again, it's purely because you never know what Greg Almusasi is going to turn up. That is the big problem as well with him.
Yeah, I mean, I think James kind of put it very well on his show. He hasn't really evolved his training or anything. He still trains in the Netherlands. Sometimes he turns up, he's really, really good. I mean, when he faced Uriah Hall, I picked Uriah Hall. I just had a hunch that Hall was going to catch him with one big shot, put him out. I think that Latis is really underrated at the minute as well. He could have beat Michael Bisping. I'm not sure.
He did.
I think I maybe edged Michael Bisping in the arena, but when I went home and watched it, I think I gave it to Latis. But his striking's coming along. I think that I think he might have the advantage over Musasi on the feet if he can get off a little bit quicker. I think he's got the more power.
Yeah. And
if Musasi wants to take this fight to the ground, I think he could leave his neck in there. He could get caught in something. And the minute I seen this from a betting perspective, I was like, ching ching, I'm on that. So I'm betting Talis Latis this weekend, and I'm picking Talis Latis to win. I think he'll get a decision, but I think it'll be close. But my pick's going to be Talis Latis.
Yeah, we'll go then to Bisping Silva. Look, for me, this fight, you know, they're both not at their peaks anymore. Both of the fighters. I think it's one of them ones that I think Bisping's more happier out of the two that have it. For Silva, it's one of them ones where I think this is an ideal opponent for Silva, because Bisping ain't going to be a one-punch knockout artist like Rockhold or Weidman, where he can hit you with one punch and rock you. Bisping is a guy who tallies his strikes up. Also, Bisping, he likes to come in, he likes to jump in with his strikes, with that stance. That is perfect for Silva with his footwork and angles and counter-striking.
Counter-striking,
I personally think it's ideal for Silva, myself.
I think so too. I think the one thing I've say Bisping is, if we look at it from being UK fans. He really is a legend of the UK scene.
Yes.
He has done so much for the sport, but Anderson, I just don't see where he beats Anderson Silva in the slightest. So he might have a better, as the fight goes longer, he might he have more kind of pop in his shot, more pep in his step towards the later rounds. But I just don't see. I think Silva will play with him a little bit, and I'm still not convinced. Like with Michael Bisping's eye, I think that that eye just looks horrendous. And personally, if he loses this fight, Michael, I think he should step back. I think he's actually a really good analyst on TV.
Yeah.
He's fun. But I just want to kind of give the UFC a shout out for this, because over here in Britain, the UK, maybe parts of Europe as well, people kind of shit on these cards. But I think personally, this is the way UFC fight cards should look in Europe. You've got local talent coming through, and there is loads of great local talent coming through here, and it's headlined by an absolute blockbuster of a fight. So kudos to, I think, Eric Winter for putting it on Fight Pass, the UFC for making this happen, and this is what I think what needs to happen more with the UFC events over here in Europe. I like the card, and the main event screams out to any MMA fan out there.
Hey, look, Eric Winter is doing a stellar job as well. I'm with you on that one.
He's the man.
He is.
Eric's the man.
Such a cool dude to talk to. And also, you know, you look at the Zagreb card, they're getting Damir Ferhatbegovic, who is an absolute monster on that card, who people will look at us and go, who is he? But he is a monster.
They don't know who he is, exactly,
And he is one to look out for. But then the main event, bang, you've got Rothwell, Junior Santos, you know, former champion and a guy who wants the belt. Now, I personally feel that Rothwell's just going to steamroll Junior Santos in that fight.
I'm the same.
But then again, it's still a hell of a main event. Then you go to Rotterdam. Word is it's going to be Overeem and Arlovski, two legends, both European heavyweights as well. So they're both, you know, that helps for the European stage. Again, Arlovski, former UFC heavyweight champ. It just helps with the marquee kind of main event, and they can just fill that undercard, so to speak, with local talent.
I mean, that fight with Handazovic in Zagreb, he's facing against Taisumov, who
it's a hard fight.
It's a great fight. But I'm looking at the card at the minute. Nicholas Dalby, always been a fan of Nicholas's kind of work rate, and he's just overall a really good fighter. You've got Marcin Tybura, who's coming in the heavyweight division. I think this guy could beat some big guys in that heavyweight division. That Francis Ngannou from France is another really good fighter. You've got Bojan Velikovic coming in from RFA. Good cards. This is what I think the UFC need to do, and more respect to them for it. I hope they really put some good fights together for... Is there any fights confirmed for Rotterdam yet, do you know?
I think there was
for the main event.
I think there was 2 fights confirmed for, and it's just gonna. Do you know what? Right now, because you're asking me right now, my head's gonna go.
Bigfoot against Stefan Struve. So that's probably going to be the co-main event.
Nah, they won't do 2 main. They won't do 2. They'll probably put that as like on the main card, but not as the co-main event. They'll probably stick a lighter weight something else on there, just in case. Because with the heavyweight division, it's one of them ones. Sometimes it can be an epic knockout, or it can be like a drag of a 3-rounder. So
it's like Jared Roshaw, like down in Australia, him and Struve, or perhaps like that. But then I'm just looking at, they've got Nikita Krylov against Francimar Barroso.
There you go. Murder. Krylov's going to murder him.
Krylov is, he's going to go through him, and then you've got Reza Madadi against Jan Cabral, which will be, I think that's a good fight as well.
Yes, there you go, Jan Cabral, that was it. See, I couldn't remember until you bloody named them. Right, yes. So they named a couple of fights, but again, I think we'll see, some regular names on there with a couple of new additions. Not too many, but I like it. I like the fact that, like you say, they're putting Fight Pass. Well, I've spoke about this, and I do believe that I spoke this with Chuck Mindenhall as well. I feel like with the UFC Fight Pass, what they're doing is that, like the WWE Network, they're making it a channel that people will want to purchase it, the app or whatever you want to call it, and they're putting content on there that people will want to tune in for, and they're really starting to take the channel seriously, because I love it. You got to think, mate. I love it. In the next few weeks, you've got, let's see, UFC London, Titan FC, Invicta. You've got Glory coming up. You've got UFC 186. It's just rattling off event after event after event, and you got to think there to yourself, that's all on one channel. You're not having to flick through everything. I love it. I'd say I literally spend hours on Fight Pass.
Pass. I was on my days just watching fights or watching something or other on there. I gave them my 12 months up front.
Yes.
And I just literally stream it on the TV and I sit and watch fights for hours. And from what I'm hearing, I think Eric Winter says that they're going to really change things up. That it's going to get better. And you say Titan. I'm a big fan of Invicta personally.
Yes.
I do watch kind of everything on there, but I mean the content that they've got coming out. I mean the next Invicta card is stacked as well. They've got a couple of title fights on there. So
yeah.
I love Fight Pass. Fight. I mean. For me, they're actually sending me a few T-shirts out, which is really, really nice of them for doing some certain things like surveys and stuff. So I'm waiting for them to come through. I mean, it's stuff like that makes you really want to kind of stay there, support the UFC and Fight Pass, and I can only see it really going places in the next couple of years. And eventually, I think all the fight nights are going to be on there eventually. And
well, I think that as well. It's already. I love it already. And they sit there and say they're going to improve it, and I'm like, well, I'll be honest with you guys, it's great as it is. But the fact that you can say there's going to be more, well, I'm super. Like I've had it like you, mate. I've had it for way too long. I don't even I literally have no life because of it. People go, oh, have you not seen anyone? I'm like, no, I have got a girlfriend. It's called UFC Fight Pass. Go away and leave me alone. I want to watch two men in shorts grapple. Get away. But that's it. Meta Morris, isn't it? Hasn't Meta Morris gone to there or something? Bloody hell.
Eddie Bravo.
Eddie Bravo Invitational. There you go. Sorry.
And if I'm not the big. I did a little bit of jiu-jitsu a couple of years back, but I've got glasses, and if I take my glasses off, I'm literally walking into things. I'm blind as a bat. But like Eddie Bravo Invitational is the best jiu-jitsu to watch, because it's just people going for stuff. It's none of this stalling and trying to get points wins. It's like they're going for submissions. So if you get the opportunity to watch that, you need to go and watch it, because it's fun times when the Eddie Bravo Invitational's on.
That's the idea of it, you see, because he makes you you can only win with submission, and then when it goes to when the time runs out, they put you in awkward positions. It's almost like the NFL, where in overtime you get a chance to basically score, get a touchdown. It's the same with the Eddie Bravo Invitational. You get a chance to submit them, and then you can swap it over. It's a great idea. It's how it should be. Make sure guys are going for submissions. Again, that's another content added, which is absolutely staggering, really, considering that it started off as something that people weren't sure about, and then now I love it, and I can't wait to hear what they're doing this year with it and what more. We're going to finish off then, Will, talking about the best press conference in the world I have ever seen, in the smallest place you would have ever, it looked tiny. The whole thing looked like it had been done in 2 minutes. It didn't even look professionally done, but it was just that you just didn't need it. You didn't need to worry. You didn't even need to stage. You just had to have Nate and Conor stood there with two microphones.
Yeah,
it was.
I thought it was. I think if I remember right, they were going to have the open workouts between Conor and RD, so that's why it's kind of like that. But I think the amount of people they took a picture of outside the UFC gym in Torrance, and it was like the line just kept on going. So it wouldn't surprise me if I had to tell people that there's no more room in this place. But I mean, I couldn't. I was working. I was up very early, so I was hoping. Come on, hurry up, Conor. But you know what? If I knew that was going to happen last night, I would have stayed up. I would have waited another couple of hours, because it was just absolute dynamite. And Conor McGregor, there's nobody that can talk with this guy, because he puts you in your place. He did it with Nate last night, and Nate just didn't know kind of what he was doing. But Nate Diaz, being Nate Diaz, just didn't give a shit and just kept on coming like he will in the fight. But whether it's going to be a good thing for him, I don't think it'll be. I don't think it'll be too great for him tonight, but I think kudos to the UFC for getting it done quick and getting a really good replacement for RDA falling out, because I was desperate to see Conor against RDA, but with RDA falling out, getting Nate Diaz in, it's not a bad replacement, and it's at 170, which just kind of, if Conor wins, it really puts himself out there. I'll fight anybody, any division, and I will beat. And I know Nate's not a natural 170 guy. He kind of he's went between the divisions, but I think this only really adds to the myth of Conor McGregor if he goes in there and does what he says, and usually comes out with the outcome that he says as well.
Yeah, it does. You're right there. I think if you're a matchmaker for the UFC, Conor's ideal then, because they'll sit there and go, we want more guys like that. We'll just step in, doesn't matter what it is, who it is, and we'll just go. And he's ideal for them, because now they can just sit there and make up fantasy matchups. It doesn't matter, because they just know he's going to say yes. And that's what they need. They need more of them.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. He's the master at these press conferences. They're just stealing the show.
Yeah.
We did that. It was the big press conference. He went after RD. He went after Cerrone.
Yeah.
So he's got RD. He's got Cerrone. Last night he was talking about Nick Diaz. He said he was talking to Nick more than he was Nate.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. We were speaking about this beforehand. While the press conference was going on, I thought, holy shit, Conor McGregor versus Nick Diaz. I mean, the amount of pay-per-views that will sell, if they can get a full couple of months to really promote that fight, that thing is going to take off, because Diaz brothers are huge pretty much wherever they go, and Conor is just changing the sport. Pretty much the sport's at his feet at the minute, really. So
and you got to think, Nick's suspension's up in August, I think, anyway. So it's not out of the realms of maybe saying September time, maybe October time, considering if, say, let's do hypothetical results. Say Conor beats Nate, then he goes for UFC 200, potentially against Robbie Lawler. Let's just do random fantasy matchups, let's say. They do that fight, then that's it. Then you've got that fight, and then you could sit there, Nick Diaz, bang, sits there, goes in, say, September, October, gives Conor a bit of time off, and it gets straight into Nick Diaz. I love that idea. You know, it would just,
I love that idea as well.
And it would just sell. It's just money. You know, those fights are made. Fight against Nate is made for money. Lawler's going to be a money maker, and then Nick's just going to be a bigger money maker. It just builds and builds.
I mean, it's just, I really hope people start to appreciate kind of Conor McGregor, because I think he's going to get to a stage where he goes, right, that's enough, and you're not going to see him again, and I don't think you will see him making a comeback, not unless somebody comes in and is kind of trashing him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think he's got his money. He really doesn't need to make any more money.
No.
So the one thing that kind of gets me is fighters that go after Conor McGregor because he does this or does that. He's everything. From the minute he stepped in the door and fought in Sweden, he has said everything that he was going to do, he's done. He's changed the sport completely last year when I was at 189, I couldn't believe the amount of Irish people, the MGM Grand, everywhere you looked, there was an Irish accent, and it was crazy, and you went down the strip, and it was just Irish everywhere. It was crazy the amount of people there, and people say, oh, but GSP did that, but you're not flying halfway around the world.
Yes.
Doing that 3 times a year as well. I mean, they did it in December. I know people that are going next week, and it's not easy going out to Las Vegas. A lot of money. I mean, I'm going out in April for Jones and Cormier too, and it's not. It's a lot of money on your.
It is.
It's a lot of money to spend, but thankfully the missus is coming with this time, so she's kind of burdened some of it a little bit. But it's a lot of money, and he's just completely changed the game. I just don't like the way fighters kind of go after him. He's doing everything he's asking, and he's taking the company to the next level, so he deserves the prizes that he's coming his way. I
think the guys who are in 145, 155 and now 170, anyone who does have a go in that weight class, they're doing it really to have a potential chance to fight him, because they know, like you say, he's going to make them money, and do you know what? I don't have any problems with them doing it, because they're just themselves trying to sell a fight that hasn't been signed, so they're trying to make one happen.
Yeah. So like Nate Diaz is going from 20 to 20 for 20. This guy's probably going to make. It wouldn't surprise me if he makes $500,000 next week.
Yeah.
That's the guy. I mean that's more money than he's probably ever had before in his life, and it's he's not only changing the sport, Conor changing his life, he's changing Chad Mendes' life has probably been changed, and there is others as well.
Jose Aldo, to be fair, probably hasn't made that
Jose
much
Aldo,
money.
Yeah. We may never see Jose again. Supposedly he's back in camp, but does he really need to come back? I don't think he does, but obviously you wouldn't want to go out in a 13-second loss, but I really just hope people kind of. I know he's a polarising figure, but
he's like Marmite for some people. I think that's all it is. It's just at the same time, it's like Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
They literally are. They're doing so much, and it's Marmite. But you got to think. I'm saying Ronda Rousey there. The woman who demolished Ronda Rousey is on the undercard of this Conor Nate fight as the co-main event, and no one is talking about Holly and Misha.
Yeah, and I think after as soon as I'm finished here, I'm going to go on and make my predictions for UFC 196. So I've been doing a bit of tape study over the last few days, and that fight is really intriguing because I think Misha Tate she's really came along in the last few fights. And I say I'm a Misha Tate fan. At the beginning, I wasn't really a Ronda Rousey fan, but you need to respect Ronda Rousey's game.
Yes.
And just her physical attributes that she had. Everybody loses. It happens to everyone. I don't care who you are. But see, that fight, Holm versus Tate, I'm really looking forward to that. Like, really looking forward to it. I think it's a great stylistic matchup. And you'll need to really kind of look in and watch that because it's going to be a good fight. The card overall is not particularly great.
Latifi's on the main card as well.
You know what? I totally forgot about that fight.
Yeah.
But I was actually looking at the card there, and I totally forgot that Latifi is on that card. And Latifi's a guy that I think he's starting to kind of get himself a little bit of reputation over there in America with he's just a bulldozer pretty much.
Yes.
And he goes through people, and he's training the American top team now, so you may see a little bit more of him kind of flopping about in America, but I like that matchup against Valente as well. I think it's a good matchup for him.
Exactly, you got Tom Lawler as well against someone, and it's going to evade me right now.
Corey Anderson.
There you go, Corey Anderson. And you got the ladies are on the undercard, on the main card as well. You got another women's fight.
Very good fight. I think it's the women's fight. Very really disappointing. We've seen last week with Lauren Murphy. That was a fun fight. There was a little bit of controversy with Renault and Evan Smith. But Diego Sanchez against Jim Miller, fight past prelim. Great fight. My favourite fighter of all time is Diego Sanchez. Always been a fan of his, and he's not been great probably his last, let's say 5 to 8 fights. Probably he could have lost every one of them.
Yeah.
But on a few decisions. But I think him versus Jim Miller is going to be a great fight as well.
I think it suits the both of them of where they are, because I think Jim's on a bit of a decline at the moment for some reason. Like at one point, Jim Miller was going to get that 155 stab, and then for some reason, he just went right off the boil. And Jim Miller is an absolute monster. He is a killer, and he's went off the boil.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that just happens. I mean, he's never really faced any. When you think about it, except for his early days, he's come in and he's faced the best of the best in that division. I mean, you look at the names, he's beat Cerrone, beat Joe Lozon, I think he fought back in the day. He hasn't fought bad guys. No. He's had a couple of wins. He's had maybe up-and-comers like Medeiros when he beat him and other fights, but it's just a natural progression. It's the same with Diego. Diego's... He comes and sparks a little bit. We've seen it against Melendez, but then he's went down to 145, which he should never really have done because, especially against Ricardo Lamas, that's just a tough fight. But he's back where he is at 155. I think, we might not see too much more of Diego, but it's a very close fight next week. An underrated card, but you really don't need a strong card when you have Conor McGregor at the top, and then you have that other main event with Tate and Holly Holm as well.
No, I'm with you as well. I think those 2 fights alone are enough for me to be happy with. I'm with you, mate. Not every card can be mega fight, and I'm happy enough with that. Look, Will, it's been an absolute pleasure, my friend, having this conversation. I've really enjoyed talking fights. I could talk all day about MMA. But you said before we were talking about your predictions and everything. Where do we go for your predictions, my friend?
Just go to YouTube, put in my name, Will Martin MMA Predictions, and I think I've been making videos for 3 years possibly, and I'm really starting to move forward. I'm starting to get some nice views. I'm getting some nice comments. YouTube's a weird place anyway. You get people coming after you, but I'm literally on there giving my perception of the fights, and the main reason I'm on there is just really to talk to other fans, because I could literally, like yourself, could sit and talk about this sport till I'm like grey-haired, which I am already. Let's get out there.
I say me too.
I could sit in this chair I am right now for another 50 years and just constantly talk about the sport. It's just the best sport in the world to be involved in, and this is just my way of getting myself out there and meeting new fans and speaking to new fans.
And exactly, that's the thing about the sport, mate. We're on together, talking, conversing, and we're bonding over it. We're not sitting there like, for example, I'm going to pick on football. We're not sitting there like two soccer fans, and we're disrespecting each other's teams. You know, like, for example, you might say, "Oh, I like him and I like him." Do you know what? It's all right if you like different fighters, but the thing is, we're not. We respect the fight game. I love it, mate. I'm super excited about this this weekend. And look, we're going to talk in the future together. We'll always keep talking, buddy. But on Twitter, how do people get hold of you?
Will Martin 7 MMA. That's my Twitter handle. So come on there. You can speak to me anytime. I say I'm not much of a sleeper personally. I'm always working quite a bit, but I'm always there if you want to speak. Send me a message, and let's just talk about the sport.
Yeah.
Tell me some of your favourite fighters. Tell me some of your favourite fights, and just come and converse with me. That's all I'm really about on Twitter. It's just because I have friends that like the sport where I stay, but not too many. I mean, I'm 100% for the sport. I love the sport and I love watching it. So you're kind of the family out there that are pretty much like myself, who just want to speak about the sport. So just come find me on Twitter, Will Martin 7 MMA, and I'll chat MMA with you until you're grey haired like me.
I will put Will's Twitter handle, and I'll put the link up to his YouTube channel, not only on our Facebook, on our Facebook page, but also do it on our YouTube channel when we put the YouTube video up and stuff like that, people. So you can just click the link, because these days people are pretty lazy and they don't like to type, they just like to click stuff. You'll be able to click, do it all. It'll all be there for you. Will, again, thanks very much, friend, for coming on. I'm going to stick now, ladies and gentlemen, on our 9 guests. I'm going to literally stick them on one after another. It's just going to be an absolute minefield of interviews and guests. Like I said, we're going to stick Damir, Travis, Jose, Charlie, Jason, Douglas, Felipe, Jess, and Samuel. There you go. That's all of them. Thank you very much, everyone, and I'll be back next week. Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined right now with Damir, who's making his professional debut on the 27th of February, which is literally round the corner. Now, Damir, you've got a bit of, let's say, a bit of expectation on yourself coming in, from people coming into this fight with being an amateur champion with Valor Fights. Do you feel that you're deemed as a top prospect coming through now into the pro ranks?
I would like to think I am. You know, a lot of people have been building up my name, and it shows throughout my fights that, you know, I've been training hard. I believe I do have talent, and I do believe that I'm definitely going to make it far in this game.
Now, you having the confidence there to feel like you are. Sometimes people like to be the grey man. They like to just come up through the ranks, you know, get the wins and just earn their stripes as they go along through their career. Are you looking to make an impact? Are you wanting to, obviously, with your first opponent, you're looking to get a nice big win and just take on opponents with stronger records with each fight coming along and just try and get yourself up to the spotlight as quick as you can?
You know, I've told Tim before, I told him I'll fight anyone, whether it's a 10-0 guy, 1-0 guy debuting or whatever. Whatever he has lined up for me, you know, I'll take it. I'm not really afraid to fight anyone at this point. But yeah, right now I'm just trying to get as many wins as I can early on. I want to move on to bigger things eventually.
Yeah, I was going to say now, with your amateur career, do you feel that you got enough out of your amateur career then before you come into the pro ranks?
Absolutely. You know, I fought MMA. I have a 5-1 record in MMA. I've also done a lot of kickboxing. I actually have an 8-1 kickboxing record as well. So I think it was definitely enough experience to get me in this pro fight. Now,
the opponent that you have now is Lamar Brown, that you're stepping into. You were originally penciled in to fight someone else. This happens in the fight game. We've seen it with Rafael dos Anjos getting injured with the fight against Conor McGregor. You know, it's something that happens at very highest level. Now, for you, you don't really care, I imagine, who it is, as long as you've got an opponent to go into the cage with.
Yeah, that's right, you know, and it's MMA, stuff like that happens all the time. You got to be prepared. You got to expect the unexpected, pretty much, you know.
Yeah.
So I fight I prepare for opponents differently for each one. You know, it's unfortunate for a kid that he got injured, had to back out. I would love to fight him eventually. Shout out to Lamar Brown for taking the fight short notice. But yeah, you know, stuff like that happens all the time. You just gotta be ready for it.
It does. And yeah, like I say, yeah, kudos to Lamar Brown for taking a short notice fight. I love the guys that are game to do that. I have a lot of respect for the guys that step up on a short notice. You know, it's not easy because sometimes not every fighter is always on point. I say match fit is the way to describe it, because sometimes, you know, you're about 80%, you're not at your peak, and it's because you can't literally go all year round being at your peak, because you just literally will burn yourself out.
Correct, yeah. And, you know, like I said before, kid did get injured, and I do hope to get a rematch not a rematch, but I hope to fight him in the future, you know.
I am sure,
really
yeah.
up to fight anyone. Yeah, I'm up to fight anyone, you know, and I've already had a couple people back down from my pro debut when approached, and, you know, that's on them, but for me, I'll fight anyone.
Now, like you said, you've earned your stripes, obviously, in the amateur ranks, and, you know, you've done the kickboxing and stuff. Going into the pro level, have you changed, or has your training changed at all from when you decided that you were going to step up into professional rankings?
The only major difference I would say is honestly conditioning. I've done a lot of strength and conditioning for this camp, trying to really focus in on that aspect. But overall, I mean, I've been training the same way I have been since I started fighting. So.
And you, I believe you train with Scott Holtzman, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's my main training partner right now. He's helped me a lot through this camp. Done a lot of conditioning with him, a lot of sparring. So definitely a big thanks to him for helping me out on this camp.
I was about to say, it must be very useful having someone, obviously, with a UFC caliber to basically learn from, and also he can just help you, nurture you in your career, because he's obviously been there before, making his pro debut and working his way through the ranks. And to be fair, he's maybe made mistakes with going with the wrong promotion, or, you know, it must be very useful having someone with that knowledge to help out when you maybe have questions or you're not sure of things. You know, that kind of reassurance of having someone next to you.
Absolutely. He's the first person I go to whether I have a question about sponsors, promotions, fights, training, nutrition, anything like that. He's the first person I go to, so it's definitely nice having someone like that around that you can go to and ask questions whenever you need to.
Yeah, I have to admit, that would be fantastic to have someone like that around. And like you said, he's been helping you out with this fight camp, strength and conditioning, and I was going to say, because I've spoken to some other guys who have, in the past, who have been amateur and they went to the pro ranks, and I like everyone else, they're already training 3 5-minute rounds. They're already starting to do that. But again, it's just getting used to that pacing, you know, because when you've had the 3 by 3 minute rounds, your pacing is a lot different than it would be for 3 5-minute rounds.
Right, and you know, that's the thing you got to adjust to, going from amateur to professional. You can't, you know, go 100% for 3 minutes and expect to do that in a 5-minute round. You know, you're gonna be dead by the end of the first round. It's kind of a different. You gotta game it differently for professional rings.
Yeah.
Just like I said, just 2 minutes doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're in there, you can really tell a difference. So you really gotta kind of change the game plan up. Gotta slow things down a bit, and you know, just pick your shots, pick your openings, and then whenever you're ready for the finish, you go for it.
I know it's crazy to think that it's only 6 more minutes if it goes all 3 rounds, but that 6 minutes, it's something. It's a different level of conditioning. It's crazy to think it.
Right, and a lot of people, unless you've been in the cage, they don't realize exactly like how tired your body gets. I mean, your body's basically going 100%, you know, for 3 minutes straight. Adding another 2 minutes on top of that is, you know, definitely a game changer. Oh
yeah, I had it on my pro debut as well. It was, you know, when I got out the first round, I kind of was like, whew, I need to get some oxygen in me. That, you know, it was a shock. You know, the 5 minutes, because like you say, you're doing 100% for 5 minutes, and you're just like, Yeah, that was pretty intense. Okay, I've got to do that again now, potentially, and again afterwards. And you're like, it is quite taxing mentally and physically.
Right, and I've gone through that same in the amateur. You know, I finished the first round. I felt so tired. I didn't think I could do another 6 minutes of fighting. You know, but that's just the thing you kind of get used to over time, gain some experience of, and it kind of dwindles down. But yeah, for this fight camp, I've also been focused on my breathing. A lot of hard sparring sessions where I am just focusing on my breathing, getting my heart rate back down whenever I can throughout the fight.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Are you looking to bring a big crowd of people with you to this card, are you, to support you?
Absolutely. I've actually sold a lot of tickets to a lot of friends and family, a lot of supporters. Can't wait to see everyone out there enjoying my fight, and hopefully I'll put on a good show for them.
That's awesome that you've got that support. Yeah, it's great that you've got that many people coming to back you up as well. It must give you a little bit of a boost then when you're going into the cage, I imagine.
Absolutely, seeing all your friends and family out there supporting you gives you kind of a purpose as to why you're there.
Yeah.
You know, not just for the money. It's not just for yourself. You know, you're fighting for your fans. You're fighting for your family. You know.
Yeah, and you know what, like you said, you're right there. It gives you purpose. It just gives you, it's like a reminder, isn't it? You know, and it does certainly help. And hey,
exactly. Yeah.
The fight's very, very close. Damir, I tell everyone this. I remember pretty much everything about my pro debut. I could literally write down everything that I ate on the weigh-ins and the day after. Of the fight day, I can remember it all, mate. I can remember everything about it. You know that it was always something that'll always stick in my mind, and you know what, it'll be the same for you. And just take in all of it, mate. You know, I know you've done amateur stuff, but the pro debut, it's just something to remember, mate. Honestly, it really is. You know, I've even still got like little pamphlets that they put out for the promotion that they put around town. I grabbed a couple little mementos, silly things like that. Do you know what? It's just when obviously I get older and I've got no memory, and I'm trying to remember how to tie my shoelaces. I can look at that and go, well, I wonder what that was. But you know, it's just little daft things like that, mate. So look, have a fantastic weekend and have a great pro debut as well, to me. I'm sure that you and Lamar Brown are going to have a hell of a fight. But before I let you go, do you have any social media stuff that people can jump onto to give you like a follow and stuff like that?
Not right now. I don't have a Twitter right now, but I will have a Facebook fighter page.
We will get you.
Name yet, but it will be up soon.
Yeah, you get that sorted, sunshine. Now you're got a pro ranks. You got to get all that social media going. That's the ticket. You see, it helps with the helps with your career. That social media stuff. Then what about? Have you got any sponsors there that help you out?
I want to shout out Ogo Oro and Brill. They're an upcoming sponsor. They're looking at me. Shout out to Valor Fights for giving me this opportunity. Shout out to my coaches, Ben Harrison, Scott Holtzman, Shield Systems, everyone there. My friends and family. My dad has been the biggest supporter of me ever since I started fighting. And yeah, thank you to everyone.
Right, thank you very much for coming on to me, and like I said before, have a great weekend, and I hope that you have a very successful and a fantastic professional career.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and Titan FC have Travis Taylor taking on Jose Torres. Now, Travis, you're joining us. Firstly, thank you for giving us some of your time to talk about this fight coming up. Now, you're fighting on Titan FC.
Thank you guys for having me.
Hey, dude, look, you're fighting on a Titan FC card, mate. UFC Fight Pass. It's going to be around the world. Pretty awesome times, isn't it?
Yeah, when you put it like that, that's going to give me butterflies.
Well, do you know what? We all, guys who compete in MMA, you get in there to get onto these kind of stages, I imagine.
Yeah. Like, my friend, my manager, and my coaches tell me, like, not that many people get that kind of opportunity at first debut to fight on a big card like this. I feel like, you know what, mentally I'm ready to go ahead and do this. Physically, I'm always ready to fight. You know what I mean? This is my time to just show the world who I really am as a fighter and as a person. You know what I mean?
And that's it, man. That's it. Exactly. You got a chance here to put your debut out there against a guy as well who's also making his debut. The pair of you have had a good bit of experience in the amateur ranks, So you're not both going in like it's not going to be like watching Kimbo Slice and Dada 5000. We're not going to be sitting.
Oh man.
That was. Do you know what? I felt like contacting Scott Coker and asking him to pay me to watch it, because that was hard. That was. Oh.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, but
you know what? A fight's a fight, whether they're terrible or they're bad. You know what I mean? Shouts out for the Dada 5000 just stepping up to fight in Kimbo. Shouts out for Kimbo. They put on their performance. I won't say the best performance, but they put on their performance. You know?
Yeah, they put on a performance. Yeah. We haven't found a word yet to describe that, but look, we'll get I know we're going to get a higher caliber of fight with you, pair, because what people might not know about yourself, because obviously Jose Torres, he done the World Championship, so he's got that notoriety from him on Fight Pass, so there's people who could maybe know about him a little bit more beforehand. But with yourself, you're no slouch. You're not too bad on the grappling side of things.
Yeah, I actually became number one in the North American Grappling Association in Jiu-Jitsu. And when it comes to fighting in general, it's just something that I love to do. I train with a whole lot of high caliber fighters. I was originally wanting to do kickboxing, but then I fell in love in the jiu-jitsu area when I started working with a lot of high-level jiu-jitsu artists like Fabio Mello, Mauricio Silva, Marcon Silva. Like, there's a lot of great ground guys. And then working on wrestling, catch wrestling, collegiate wrestling, Greco-Roman wrestling. It's like I fell in love with more of the grind part of fighting, not just like the techniques of just like combination, uppercuts here and there. I fell in love with the grind, like the mental part of the game, where it's like it comes down to will, like who really wants it, And you don't learn that from just anything. You learn that from jiu-jitsu, wrestling, just the wrestling grind. I learned that, and I fell in love with it, and I enjoy it to the team. So I just know that this fight, Jose Torres, is going to be a grind. It's going to be a match, because he comes from a grappling background, and I may be a striker, but I'm spots when it comes to the grappling. I have no problem going to the ground with him or clinching up with him. I respect that side of the martial arts, so I will be more than happy to meet him also.
Well, what I love about the standard these days of fighters who are making their pro debut, or whether it be like their first fight or their second or third pro fight, because of the standard of amateur fighters these days, I already have. I kind of look forward to these pro debuts, because I think they're almost they're polished. They're a lot cleaner versions than 10 years ago, and I look forward to the fact that you've got this background that guys 10 years ago wouldn't have had. They've only probably got that kind of caliber now. It takes them a lot of time to build that up, and this is what's so good about the amateur. We've got two guys here, yourself and Jose, who have both got very good standards, and we're just going to get a cracking fight. And it's awesome that we get that chance to see that these days, and I think it's something that will be more common, obviously, this year and next year and so forth, because it's going to just be a more common theme when you see the guys making their pro debuts.
Yeah, not even that. It's just the fact that you don't see guys who are just more hungry. Like you said, back in the days, guys were just like jumping in and stuff. Nowadays, you got guys who are taking the time and amateur to polish craft, polish their technique, find out what's their background from being a stand-up fighter, a grappling fighter, or just be great at all around. And once they figure that out and they get the proper tunage to it, they are just ready to go into the pro league just so they can show it, and they're just hungry, not just for the win, but just for the opportunity, you know what I mean? So just like you said with me and my opponent, I don't know too much about him, but the fact that I heard that he had an awesome amateur record shows that he's going to come in this game ready to go, you know what I mean? He's not going to come trying to be hesitant, not knowing really what to do. He's going to come already knowing what he's going to want to do, as I am too. I know exactly where I want this fight. I know exactly how I'm going to operate in this fight. And I believe there's going to be butterflies here and there, but all around you're going to get these two young up-and-coming fighters who are looking to make a name, and I feel like we're going to do that, win, lose, or draw between me and him.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I completely agree. And what I love about now, like you said, you polish your craft. That's the thing. You make your mistakes in amateur. You make a lot of your mistakes in amateur ranks, and they kind of get scrubbed off now. And that's great that it happens, because you can go into amateur ranks and you can be a bit more experimental without it being too detrimental on your kind of future in the pro ranks. You know, if you go out there, you make a load of mistakes. It's hard to pull yourself out of that. But then with the amateur ranks, you can go and make a handful of mistakes and go, right, okay, this definitely doesn't work. I'm not very good at that. I won't do that again. And let's move on. And that's what I love about the amateur ranks.
No, you're absolutely right. When I first started in MMA, amateur period, like I said, initially wanted to be a kickboxer, and then when I got talked into doing MMA, I had a decent record. I did okay, but then when they started putting me with kids who are actually like embracing the art of mixed martial arts, and I never really learned the side of the grappling side. Like I said, I came from a strict striking background, and you can check my amateur record. I got out grappled, I got out wrestled and everything, but then when I started embracing the whole art of mixed martial arts, like I made those mistakes as an amateur, you know, like, but when I started to embrace the side of being a grappler, not just being a striker, it put a whole 180 in my game, and I was able to actually show my true potential in the amateur bracket and tune it up and figure out what I want to do as a fighter and not be scared where the fight goes, not be timid where the fight goes. Like, I'm comfortable all around. I can still operate my game plan and still be okay if the fight goes, if the fight makes a left, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like as amateur, that's like the biggest key as a fighter, is to find your comfort zone, find where you are comfortable at. Be good all around, but know what you want to do as a fighter, and not just be put in bad places and be tentative and not know how to operate. Me personally, I don't believe that anybody can learn that jumping right into pro. It starts with the amateur. It starts, like you said, with making those mistakes. And I was so fortunate to have people in my gym who saw that in me, and they made me stay in amateur, because I was so just ready to jump into pro, just wanted to do it, but then like they made me sit down and actually learn, not just go out there and be like another brawler, be just a regular fighter. They turned me into and molded me into a mixed martial artist. Now I am comfortable wherever the fight goes, you know?
Yeah, and you know what? That's what this sport I love is. It's not an individual sport, like you said straight away. There, you mentioned your teammates, because they care about how you perform and how your career goes. It's not about it's not selfishness. You know, there's not guys just being all about me. You all work together to help in each individual's goals. You know, they saw your potential, and they didn't want you to go out there and get thrashed in the pro ranks. They wanted you to come into the amateurs, learn your trade, and go off then to be a more well-rounded fighter. Now, you mentioned your teammates. For this fight camp then, is there a different approach? Because obviously it's going to be a pro fight. Have they stepped it up in any way? Is there anything a bit different than maybe what you usually do?
Honestly, even as amateurs, our coach Magnus Verden, he told us the all-around goal for us was to go pro. So I know in amateur they do 3-minute rounds, and pros is 3 5-minute rounds. Our coach, he had us doing 5-minute rounds from the jump street, and he always made sure in the striking department we always push the pace, don't try to knock each other out, but we put the pressure so they know what it feels like. But when it came to the grappling and the wrestling, we had to learn the grind. We had to respect the grind. So for this camp, I wouldn't say anything changed. It was just more so we had to just work. Pretty much, it was just the same old camp. Like, we just worked. We just worked hard. Hard work made easy work. When we put in the hard work, the outcome will be easy. You know what I mean? So, like, he just put that in our head, and that's just how we always operated. We always trained hard. We always show up. And like you said, it all revolves around your team. And my team at CS MMA, we're like a family. If one of us is going to war, they put it in us mentally. We're all going to war. We are all going to be there. We're going to all be there to support the person, make sure the person is ready. Not just physically ready, but mentally ready, spiritually ready, emotionally ready. Everything is going to be on point for that one night. You know what I mean? So, like, for this fight, my team has already put it in my mind. I'm already mentally ready to go. I'm self-motivated, but it was even more of a blessing to have them help motivate me also for this fight. So, like, I'm more than, like, motivated. I'm pumped, and I'm just happy, and I feel blessed to have this opportunity to show what my gym really does put forth towards their fighters, you know what I mean, as far as me and the rest of my teammates.
Hey, and
you know what I mean? I'm happy to be that. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say I'm looking forward to it as well. You know, I'll be tuning in. I'll be at home, tuning in on my Fight Pass, and I'll be watching it. Don't you? Watching it from the very start till the very end.
Oh man, I was looking at the card. I feel like the card is so stacked. It's just so crazy. It's gonna be a crazy card. And then when I looked at the card and then all of a sudden I see my name on it, it was like I almost wanted to drop into tears because I couldn't believe this was happening. You know what I mean? It's like everything just felt so surreal. My coaches, Magnus, always told me everything happens for a reason. You should never shun your way from any type of blessing that comes your way. And this blessing came my way. I grabbed it with both hands, and like I haven't looked back since. You know what I mean? So like I'm all in. I'm all happy. I'm all blessed for this opportunity. I can't wait to showcase what I really can do and who I really am. You know.
Well, look, it's 15 minutes potentially maximum of hard work. That's all you got to do is put out 50 minutes of everything you've got, and then after that, you'll just be able to enjoy the weekend and relax and just absorb the rest of it, you know. And I tell you what, have a great time, you know. Really do have an awesome weekend. Enjoy the whole week, fight week, and everything building up to it, and just absorb it all and just make the most of it. You know, each time it's a great memory to take with you. Now, before I let you go, can you let people at home know what, like, your Twitter, if you have any, or Facebook or Instagram is?
Believe it or not, I never really had a Twitter account at first. My coaches put it on me, so Charles, you gotta get a Twitter account now. Like, it's like social media is the thing in the world. So I'm like, okay. So I just made a Twitter account. It's TJ56Ace. On Facebook, Travis Taylor. My fan page, I also just made Travis TNT Taylor. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I will work on all the other social media so the fans can get a hold of me. But that's right now is what I have. I would love to give a shout out to my coaches, Magnus Virgil, Luke Jackson, Tommy Elliott, Marcio Silva, all my teammates from CSMA. I love you guys. My mentor, Rob Canova, his wife, Mindy Canova, their two sons, Chachi Canova, Sammy, who's actually wrestling state on the same day as me fighting. I can't wait. Like, we're both going to do great that day. It's going to be an awesome day. Sammy Canova, shout out to him, and the whole Olympic High wrestling team. You know, like, this moment is just something that the whole, them and myself been waiting for. It's been a long time coming. We're just, like I said, we're all just pumped and ready. Like, I'm happy right now. I'm blessed. Regardless of the outcome of anything, I will continue to be blessed. This is going to continue to be a blissful and joyful moment for me. You know what I mean? I can't say no more than that. You know what I mean? It's going to be a great moment. I just can't wait.
Travis, thank you very much. That's a great way to finish it off, and thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you so much, guys.
Mr. Jose Torres, you're joining me now. So, final, let's say it. Let's fingers crossed as well. Fingers crossed, legs crossed, toes crossed. 4th of March, you're going to finally have your MMA pro debut. Sounds good.
I'm definitely excited if it happens.
If it happens. You're fighting, I want to say it's probably, I think it's pronounced George or Jorge Dominguez. He's making his pro debut again. They've kept it balanced in the sense of, you know, like we spoke about before, they're not giving you someone who's had a handful of fights. They're keeping it a very level playing field, and you've got a new, fresh face opponent to think about and get yourself ready for.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. So it's George Dominguez, or Jorge Dominguez, if you want to use the Latin accent to it. Overall, he's 0-0 as a pro. He's also making his pro debut, but he is 9-4, I believe, as an amateur. Definitely not as experienced as my my amateur record, but overall, it's going to be a great fight, and Titan is picking the proper fights for me, which is very respectable by them.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, he's 9-4. He's got a lot of bouts there. Good experience at least. It's not like he had 4 amateur bouts or something. He's got a good handful. He's got some losses in which help, I think, really mould a fighter and help a fighter develop as well. It will help him. It'll toughen him up a bit more. It will get him in the right mindset for making the pro debut. And I have to say, it's nice to see the IMMAF, they do really help push you and promote you as well. The support they've been giving you is fantastic.
Yeah, it's been really awesome. Everybody at the IMF has been doing a great job helping promote me and helping me get a fight. I'm the only 2-time world champion, so for them, I'm kind of been announced as their new poster boy in a sense. So I'm definitely very happy about that, and I'm actually hoping to go back to Worlds this year and just show my face and hopefully motivate some of the fighters to do what I did, graduate college, or at least get some type of education, and also win a world championship.
Well, that's the thing. You can pass on your experience. You can pass on, like you say, great advice, and say that, look, get a bit of education, because anything can happen. You could have a slip in the gym, and you pop your knee out, and that's you done. It's always good to have that backup.
That was exactly my plan. Was I love MMA, I love the sport of fighting, but just in case, either I get hurt or, hey, let's just say I'm not that good at it, I have something to fall back on.
Now, last time we spoke, you were training up with Liz Carmouche, I believe, last time, up at her area. Well, what's happening with you at the moment? Where have you been? Have you been anywhere else? Have you been doing anything else?
Yeah, so, last time I was in San Diego Combat Academy with Team Hurricane Awesome and Liz Carmouche over there. Definitely a great training camp with 10 Planet System. I learned a lot, mainly on the ground, mainly on my back, because my combat dough is more of an attacking type of judo jiu-jitsu. So for me, I'm usually on top, and being over there was really nice to, even though I'm a wrestler, I hate being on my back, but getting used to it and, just going, okay, hey, don't panic when you're on your back. So for me right now, since Titan did have their last card canceled, I doubt it's going to happen again anytime soon. But it was a little hard to find me a fight. I remember calling the promoters and going, hey, fight? No? Okay, all right, call next week. Fight? No? Oh, God, So I didn't want to spend a little extra money for training camp. So right now, I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I drove down to Columbia, Missouri, Central Missouri, and trained with Hula House MMA. So I trained over there for a week, and actually currently right now, I just got to St. Louis, and I'll be training with Tyrone Woodley at American Top Team St. Louis, and also Mike Rogers' gym, St. Charles MMA. Right now I'll be in St. Louis for the week, and then after that I'll drive up back to Chicago, train at my home gym, Combat Dough, and train at Garfield Park for boxing. So it's getting a lot of different looks, getting to travel at the same time, and it's old friends and old faces. Last week I was with the 170-pound world champion William Starks from Team USA, so I was training with him. And then this week I'm with the national champion David Evans. He also competed at Worlds. Sadly, he lost to the 145-pound champion Franz Malambo, but I'll be going to work hand on hand with him as well.
Tyrone Woodley, he's a lazy boy to be around. He's overweight. He's not even that good, Tyrone Woodley. You won't get much out of that boy.
Yeah, he's a big guy. I doubt I'll be sparring with him anytime soon. But overall, if he has any advice for me when I go to the gym today, that's definitely what I'm looking for. Just different looks and somebody to tell me something that another coach isn't telling me. Hey, put your hands up, or hey, you got to do this. Whatever the case is.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You've got someone with a level head there, good experience. All you got to do is just be that sponge. That's the key. That's all you got to do, mate. Is just keep sponging up that information. And like you said, you're travelling around. It's great because that's exactly what you're doing. You're almost like a young Clay Guida. Clay Guida just gets in his RV, goes around, and just trains at gyms, and that's all he does. It's beautiful what he does there. He's got his mainstay, but he goes to different gyms. He was recently at Glory MMA. That was it. I think it was last month or the month before. He was there training with some of the guys there, doing a bit. and it's great to see because he's doing the right thing, and a lot of fighters need to do that. They need to get out their comfort zone of their gym and just go somewhere else and just try things out. And I tell you what, I imagine it's worked for you. I imagine the fighter you were last year is not the fighter you are today.
That's definitely true. I look at my film last year, and I'll show people, I go, man, I could have done so much more. Or the first two guys that I faced, I was like, oh man, I definitely could have finished them a lot easier, or I could have finished them overall. And it's what happened, and now it's like, okay, at least I know I'm better than them. So I'm very happy that my skills have improved, or hopefully they've improved, and I'm hoping to show that on March 4th.
And that's the thing. Your pro debut, it's building up. That's the thing. It's the build up that's probably the problem. I think the anticipation, it kind of keeps building. Does that get you at all? Does that kind of get into your mind? Does that? Obviously, I'm hoping I'm not planting any seed, but the fact that it keeps building up, does it play with you at all?
Oh, you're getting me nervous. No, it's definitely it's definitely a good time. I know when I first won Worlds, I remember just walking out there and there's 30,000 people in attendance watching, walk around during the UFC Fight Pass. So it was like, oh man, even if they're not directly watching a fight, there's big screens everywhere showing people getting knocked out. So those nerves showed in the first time fighting Worlds, and the second time, I don't know. I guess it showed the veteran world champion walking in there, and I was just like, all right, cool. This is just another day at work. And so I'm just really excited to get back on UFC Fight Pass. This will be my 6th appearance on UFC Fight Pass. This time it will actually be live. And, I'm facing a good opponent, no matter what his record is. That one shot could always still knock me out, or I could always get caught in any type of submission. So, definitely have to be ready, and it's going to be a great time. I'm just happy everyone's supporting me, everyone's promoting me, and, I'm definitely ready to get back and put that effort I've been putting in the gym for, about 6 months now. So, I'm just happy they found me an opponent. Yeah, I'm telling you, when Titan canceled their event, they're like, hey man, try to find another event somewhere, somewhere small and local, and see if you can get a fight. I was like, cool, yeah, no problem. I call these promoters, and there was one guy, I'm not going to state the name, but there was one guy who was 4-1, and he was 5'11". I'm 5'4", so there's a definite height and reach advantage there. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take the fight, and the only reason I asked for him is because they couldn't find him fights. And then they go, hey, Shorty wants to fight, and he's like, no, I don't want to fight Shorty. So it's definitely been a hassle to find me a fight, mainly for Titan FC. So I'm happy that Jorge Dominguez took the fight, and we're definitely going to put on a great show.
Well, that's the thing. Guys are protecting their records. That's what that is. Guys, you know what? That guy, I don't class someone who says no to a fight as a fighter. Especially early on in your career, I've never said no myself. The only time I've ever said no is because I physically couldn't have been at the event at the time because I'd already pre-booked myself to be away somewhere on holiday. And that was the only time I ever turned down a fight because I was already going away. And that's the only time I said no. I said I will fight him elsewhere if he wants, but I can't fight in that promotion. I don't understand why, if you get in the fight game, fight. Win, lose or draw, you should get in there and you fight and that's it. You shouldn't say no, just get in there and do it.
Yeah, and it's a professional record now. It's not like amateur record where you lose, you can be 1-29, and I don't know, or pro you can be the opposite. You can be 29-1. So it's definitely very different. Amateur, you lose, okay, that record's going to be diminished once you go professional. So my 25-1 record means something right now, but once that cage closes and that fight starts, that record's gone.
Yeah, it is, my friend. It's a clean slate. Yeah,
build it up again.
And Jose, look, I cannot wait to see you make your debut. Honestly, it's honest. When the event got cancelled and I saw you trying to get fights elsewhere, I was thinking I won't be able to see it because it might be on a local show and I won't be able to watch it. And I'll be a little bit gutted. I'll be honest. I'll be a little bit disappointed I wouldn't be able to see it, and maybe a bit selfish. But I thought, happy days. He's fighting on Titan and he's making his debut now, so I get to watch it, and I'm quite happy about that. And I think a lot of other people will be too. Because there's invested interest in you as a fighter, I think, from people who are UFC Fight Pass holders and people who have seen you on social media and found out about yourself. I think it's really really helpful that the accessibility for your debut is there. So people who have watched you in the world can watch you transition to that pro rank now. Because if you did go into the regional scene, you would have lost that accessibility, and you probably would have lost the focus and the attention because people couldn't have watched it. So I think it's really good that it's happening.
Yeah, it's been a very long-awaited fight. I mean, I get people that message me where I finally posted the fight, and they're like, "Oh my God, finally!" And I was like, "Trust me, I had a friend just fight, and he was only 5-0 as an amateur, and because of the record, it's very easy to find a fight because people think they could take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And he was able to win the fight. He knocked out the guy in the first round, which is awesome. But for me, having the 25-1 record, I'm just kind of like, come on, guys, no one wants to fight me, please. I'll give you my check. I don't care. I just want to fight. So it's I'm just very happy to get back in there. And I don't know if you saw the recent post. Now I'm working with with nutrition. He's the one that's helping Johnny Hendricks for his upcoming fight this weekend. So my weight cutting's been, or let me rephrase that, my weight management's been very, very good. It's been going very well for me, and I feel a lot better during my training, and it's going to show tonight at American Top Team St. Louis, and it's going to definitely show during my fight. It's going to be a whole new shorty. Maybe it's taller, you never know. I
like Lou. He's a great guy. I had him on, spoke to him. I spoke to him a couple of times. He's really nice to speak to, and do you know what? He is really much. He's almost got that. He's got a people person kind of thing. He really well. He's a really good speaker for people and connecting with them and trying to just help them out and work around them. I like him. I do like him, and I think you're in good hands there. It's a smart move.
Well, no, he's very realistic. I'm very happy that I know people that know other people. So that's the only way I met him is that some of my PR guys or just people would call him and go, "Hey man, you should really help Shorty out. You should talk to him." And we're able to work out a little deal. And overall everything's going great. And the funny thing was when I was in Columbia, Missouri last week, given I'm on my set food schedule, this is what I'm supposed to eat at this time, how much I'm supposed to eat. Well, I have my friends going, "Hey, let's go get Mexican," or "Hey, let's go do this," or "Hey, let's eat some deer jerky." I'm like, "Oh God, guys, you're not helping me." So, and the thing is, I have to send Lou all the pictures of what I eat. So I was like, "Hey, Lou, I just want to let you know these are taking me to Mexican. I don't have the best choice of friends right now." So, for me, and they would message me. We don't call it a diet because I'm still able to eat whatever I want. When we went to Mexican, I ate Mexican. When we had, any type of deer jerky, we had deer jerky. I was able to eat that. It's just, being proportionate to my body and to my diet right now. So everything worked out really, really well, and that's something I really like because you have some people that go, dietitians that go, "Hey man, this is what I want you to eat at this time. This is the only thing you could have. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less." Compared to Lou, I'm like, "Hey man, these guys are taking me out somewhere to eat." He goes, "Okay, cool. Send me pictures of the menu, and I'll order for you. Do you like this? Yeah, I like it. Okay, cool. Let's get that. Let's proportion it and save the rest for later." So it's been working out really, really well. My fiance is very happy with my body, so I'm happy with my body as well. And everything's been going really, really well. It's going very smooth, and it should be an awesome fight. I don't see any problems with this fight.
I think it's going to be awesome because the pair of you making a debut on Fight Pass. I think the excitement for the pair of you making debut will really. I think that's what will bring it out, and especially the weight class. The weight class is an exciting weight class anyway. I think it's just fast paced. It's a lot of action, and I think, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not got Fight Pass already, I will probably go round your houses and slap you all with a fish in the face because you need to buy Fight Pass. It's something you got to have in your lives. Honestly, it's worth getting. If you're a guy and you've got a missus, it's worth getting rid of the missus and having Fight Pass and just having a relationship with that. If I could change my Facebook status to in a relationship with UFC Fight Pass, I probably would do. It's that bad. So get it, ladies and gentlemen. It's well worth it. It's well worth the money. 4th of March, UFC Fight Pass, Titan FC 37. It's happening. Jose Torres making his debut against Mr. Dominguez. It's going to be awesome for the pair of them. And it's going to be awesome for me watching it. Jose, before you shoot off, my friend, what about your social media so people can jump on?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, before that, see, when my fiance came up to me, or my girlfriend at the time came up to me and goes, "Hey, are we going to watch the fight tonight?" I'm like, "See, this is why you're the one. This is why you're the one."
Yes, she is. She is the one.
That's she likes UFC Fight Pass.
Yeah,
so
I've not met a woman, mate, who said that to me yet.
Yeah.
All I've heard is, "You're watching fights again," and every time a woman says that, it's go. Just get out and don't just go.
Don't bother me. Oh, she knows. If she's occupied with Mel and I'm watching fights, don't bother me. The only thing you're gonna bring me is food, and that's it. Don't ask me any questions. I'm watching the fight. But overall, first foremost, I have to thank Team KHK MMA or KHK MMA, and I have to thank Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa for this great opportunity. Again, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to travel. I wouldn't have been able to go to San Diego Combat Academy for my last training camp, and I wouldn't be able to train in Columbia, Missouri, and now St. Louis, Missouri, and have the money back to travel another 4 hours in car to Chicago, Illinois, and have a great training camp. So I just wanted to say thank you to Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa and KHK MMA. I'm finally going to be able to represent Bahrain and Team USA at the same time. Frankie Edgar got his chance, Makhachev got his chance, and now finally Jose Torres is going to get his chance to represent KHK MMA. So I'm very, very happy just watching me walk out with the KHK MMA t-shirt and a double-sided flag with USA and Bahrain showing unity around the world. And overall, I just want to thank everyone for supporting me, all the promoters, all the media guys, you especially for this interview, and just everyone else around the world helping me out, and just get UFC Fight Pass. If you don't know anything about me, get UFC Fight Pass. Type in my name, Jose Torres, and you'll see 5 fights already. So at least you'll get a little background on me.
Yes.
But overall, please follow me on Instagram, Jose Torres, Twitter, ShortyTorres125, and Facebook, Jose Torres MMA. And I really appreciate all of this. Thank you so much.
And there you go. You've heard there. There's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. The people who are listening to this, you will have at least one of them. So you have to jump on and you have to give a follow. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, give him a follow, give him support, and enjoy his career. Watch his fights, like you said, on Fight Pass. Get an idea of who's going into the cage. Because the guy you're watching on Fight Pass right now, the fights that are on there, will not be the same guy that steps in. That's what's exciting about this. He's had a lot of time with a lot of great people who he's been learning a lot. Like you said, 10th Planet, you've been on your back doing maybe rubber guard and stuff. Who knows if you do get on your back, get put on your back, what you might whip out a triangle, to an armor platter, to whatever, it could be anything. We don't know what we're going to see. Loving it, looking forward to it. Jose, thank you very much, my friend, for your time. It's been a pleasure as always speaking to you.
Thank you so much, and remember, if anything you need, I'm more than happy to help. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy. Right, firstly, Charlie Alexander, thank you very much, sir, for talking to me today and giving me some of your time. You're taking on Jason Wolf at the Valor Fights for the amateur lightweight title. Now, what I love about amateur MMA these days, it's got to be taken a lot more seriously than it was, say, 10 years ago. 10 years ago, amateur MMA didn't really... It was a medley. It was a mess. It was just different rules for different promotions and different classes. Now it seems it's almost like a professional look to the amateur scene. Have you... for yourself, when you're fighting amateur rankings, do you feel like there's a more professional look to it these days? When I don't know if you know anything about it previously, but do you feel like it's a lot more professional?
Oh yeah, definitely. I had my first fight in 2009, and it was just in a bar in a boxing ring. I mean, and the guy that I fought, I don't know how they picked him, because he was just some random guy that trained out of his garage with his family and stuff like that. So it definitely went from very low level venues, very low level opponents, to now where I feel like I feel like it is a professional show almost. I mean, it is a professional show. We're just still amateur fighters, so it definitely has stepped up to a much higher level from when I first started.
I definitely feel like the IMMAF bringing in the kind of world championships. They have the qualifiers as well through the US and obviously in the UK and Europe, all around the world they have them. I feel like it adds to the amateur rank, so that you got to think. Imagine, like you say, imagine when you're having a fight in that boxing ring, that someone said to you, "Oh, if you win this fight, you get to go and qualify for the world championships in Vegas." It's crazy to think that back then. That now there's a world championships. There's almost like it's almost like amateur boxing when they have the the Commonwealth. They have the world championships in boxing. It's kind of like what we have now. The MMA. It definitely adds a level of professional, but also it gives guys that platform to progress to the professional ranks.
Yeah, I agree. I think that how the amateur, most of the good promotions, the amateur, I'm pretty much only fighting for P3 and Valor right now because they're the top promotions in my area, and I feel like it's going to be almost seamlessly the same exact thing when I go pro, as far as the venue and how the fighters are treated from amateur to pros. I mean, the only thing that's going to be different is the rules, the time limit to me. So I feel like most of the amateur shows that I fight for now are at that top level where they take care of you just like you are a pro.
Now, like I say, you're fighting Jason Wolf, and it's a lightweight title fight. Do you feel having this lightweight title, if having the title, defending it, having that kind of status, do you feel that once you've established that, is the time to move to professional ranks? Do you have a time scale in your head when you feel you'll be ready?
Yeah, I mean, I've been amateur now for 6 years, and I mean, I'm about ready to go pro now. Just MMA has been pretty much my transition in MMA from right out of high school, and I've been doing it in the midst of going to college and starting my career is what I do now. So I pretty much got my schedule set up now where I can set aside time to train every day, and here in the next probably this year I'll be turning pro. I don't know a set date yet, but I'll be turning pro this year. I plan on, if and when I win this Valor title, I'll probably defend that once, and then I got another title I'd like to defend one more time. So
now you say you'd like to do it this year. I've spoke to the CEO of Valor Fights. He's looking to get a Fight Pass deal set up and signed, hopefully within the next 10 days or so, maybe, or it could be 2 weeks, depending. They're going through like there's little bits to finish off with. With the chance of it going on to Fight Pass, again, that is another platform to get yourself out there, even and going into the pro ranks. If you fight on Valor for the pro ranks, that's great exposure again. Does anything, when you think about it like that, does that excite you then when you go to the pro ranks, especially when you're fighting on a promotion like Valor, that hopefully they'll have that all set up by then?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's definitely one of the incentives for fighting for a guy like Tim Moy, having all this stuff together and getting you that exposure.
Yeah, I admit he does seem like the guy. He seems like a great guy. Like I said, I had a conversation with him. It seems that he's got a nice plan in place. He's not looking to rush the promotion. He's building it step by step, and he's doing a great thing with that UFC deal. And he's also got he's got the IMMAF qualifiers as well on the promotion. There's a lot of things that he's doing right, and he's doing it all in a progressive state. He's not sitting there trying to buy like two ex-UFC fighters to face off with each other or anything. Do you know what I mean? He's not trying to do a marquee fight. He's trying to build guys within the promotion, and that's a very good thing to do, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, it builds a loyalty with the fighters that you get from them too. Now, like you say, you've been amateur for a while. You've obviously, the great thing about doing it is you can iron out all the kind of mistakes. You can make all your mistakes now as an amateur. You can learn. You can keep growing. You can keep growing. For you as a fighter, then, what did you find that when you first kind of started and evolving? Where did you find you were going wrong? What was your mistake? What kind of mistakes were you making earlier on that you've rectified now?
I'd say earlier on, whenever I first started, I'd go out there and I'd blow my wad real quick. First minute or two of the fight, I would just go. And now, I mean, I have a game plan. I don't just try to rip the guy's head off the whole fight. Now, I kind of everything I do is for a reason. I make a game plan. I stick to it. I don't just go out there and kind of aimlessly fight like I did at the beginning. I just let my athleticism in the beginning kind of get me through some fights, and now I actually got technique. I got a game plan. I got a lot of skills that I can use now that really helps me out compared to when I first started 7-8 years ago. I mean, I'm a completely different fighter now, I was just an athlete when I first started, and now I feel like a real martial artist, and I feel like I can hang with the best people out there anywhere in my weight class.
Now, will you be staying at lightweight when you go to the pro ranks? Because some guys in the amateur ranks like to go a weight class above and then cut down for the pro ranks. Are you going to stick around at lightweight, are you, or...?
I'm going to jump. I'm going to do 155, and I'll do 145 also. I've never went down to 145, but I can make the weight. I mean, I'll walk around pretty light for a lightweight, but I feel really strong at lightweight still. I don't feel like anybody really outstrengths me. But the difference between lightweight and 145 is there'll be shorter people at lightweight. I mean, my last 4 or 5 fights, all the guys have been over like 6 foot, 6'2", 6'3", and that kind of gets old after a while. So I'd like to fight at 145 too. Yeah,
I've noticed that with some of the weight classes, some guys, they're absolute giants in height in their weight class. I think bantamweight. I think I saw a guy who was about 6'2", 6'3". That's a big guy for 135. For 135 to be over 6 foot, that's a pain in the backside to deal with. But then again, it does have its pros and cons, because when you get to that length, you're going to have the same weight, but your muscle mass, everything's stretched out a lot more. It's not as compact. I don't think, there's pros and cons to everything, really. I think there is like there's an optimal height for each weight class, and, like if you can't see it, if a guy's like fighting at 125 and he's over 6 foot tall, he's just going to look like a scarecrow or stick man. It looks daft.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I agree.
I think, lightweight and featherweight's a good try. The thing is, you can try featherweight out, like you're saying. If you don't like it, there's nothing stopping you staying back at lightweight, is there?
Yeah, I mean, I feel fine at lightweight, honestly, but I feel like I would just be on a whole nother level once I get down to featherweight.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll test it out and just see how it goes, really. I mean, my first pro fight will probably still be at lightweight. I mean, I'm not going to jump to featherweight just my first fight.
No.
As a pro, so I'll take my time.
Makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense, honestly. Charlie, it sounds like you've got your head screwed on. And look, you're fighting Jason Wolf on the 27th February for the lightweight amateur title at Valor Fights. I'm sure it's going to be a hell of a fight. Ladies and gentlemen, if you cannot make that event, you can stream it via the Valor Fights webpage. If you go on there, they have the links and all that. All the information you need to go and stream it. Look, Charlie, before I let you go, can you give a shout out to, not a shout out, let's start off with your social media, actually. What social media have you got that people can jump onto?
I got a Facebook, it's under C4 Alexander, and then also, I don't use Twitter anymore, but I got an Instagram, it's C4 _Alexander. That's my social media.
There you go. Jump on there, folks. Give him a follow. Give him a bit of support, getting ready for his big pro debut soon this year. And what about your sponsors? Do you have anyone sponsoring you?
No, man. I kind of stay low-key. I don't really got no sponsors yet. I'm waiting for them to come.
You're waiting for them to come?
Yeah, I haven't really tried to market myself out there to get any sponsors yet, because it's hard to find a sponsor as an amateur, so I just kind of do my own thing for now.
Just waiting for Nike and Muscle Farm to give you a call.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And what about the gym that you train at, your coaches, your friends and family? Do you want to give them a shout out?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to my gym, Nashville MMA, best gym around, and my trainers, Lance Patrick, he's my head coach, and Sean Hammonds, and also all my training partners out there that come in here and ground with me every single day, and they're there when I need them. I got very reliable training partners, and shout out to all my friends and family that are out there supporting me. Without them, it'd be hard to do this without all their support, so that's all I got.
Great stuff. Look, Charlie, have a great fight against Jason. Enjoy your fight and weekend with Valor, and have a great 2016, and enjoy your pro debut when it comes about as well.
Alright, I appreciate it, man.
27th of February, Jason Wolf is joining me right now. He is facing Charlie Alexander at Valor Fights, and there's a nice, lovely little strap on the line as well, which gives it a little bit more spice to the contest. Now, Jason, this is fight week. You're now, I imagine, it's more getting a sweat on, and that's pretty much about it, really, for this week.
Correct. Basically, just going over the game plan, finalizing a couple touches, making my weight, just being smart. Obviously, all fighters know during fight week, you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to do anything stupid to cause you not to be able to fight.
Obviously, I imagine the game plan is to win. I imagine that's the original game. Yep.
Oh, you know, any fighter walks into a cage, they're not walking in there to just lose. They're going in and win. And you know, I know Charlie's coming in. He's preparing himself as the best that he can. I know I've prepared myself as best that I can, and we're both going for the same goal, and that's to win.
Now, I spoke to Charlie already, and I said to him, "Well, I look forward to amateur bouts a lot more than I did, say, 5 years ago, or even I'll say 5 years ago. Not even that. You don't have to go 10 years. Just go 5 years ago. The standard nowadays of amateur fighters is at such a higher level that it's actually worth getting excited about, and it's exciting to watch. You know, the guys coming through in the amateur ranks with yourself and Charlie. You know, it's an exciting fight that's going to happen because the pair of you aren't just two guys that have got no experience and don't know what you're doing. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. No, with his, I know doing some research on him. I know he has an 8-3 record. I know he's taken some time off between fights, just like I did. I took off 5 years. He took off 2, but you can just tell when you take some time off, the difference of those 2 years, and actually getting better and fine tuning yourself. That's kind of what I did. You know, my last fight, it really showed a lot of things have actually improved from what I used to fight 5 years ago. And I knew basically it was now or never if I was going to continue fighting or not. And obviously Valor gave me a nice opportunity to fight on their card and fight for the lightweight title, and then obviously showcase myself, and then fight again, hopefully soon, hopefully on the April 29th card.
Well, if you can keep active, it's always a good thing. Also, I don't know how much you know yourself about this, but I was speaking to Tim Lowe, the CEO of the Valor Fights, and he was saying that they're pretty much, they're almost waiting for the ink to dry on a UFC Fight Pass deal as well.
That's just going to help expose all the fighters, no matter if you are fighting at the pro level or you're fighting at the amateur level. It's just going to help expose each person to the general public.
Yeah.
Especially people who have the UFC Fight Pass or getting the UFC Fight Pass. They can actually see fighters not just in the UFC or other bigger organizations like Bellator and stuff like that, or World Series of Fighting, but you can actually see them in you can see them in NFC, you can see them in NAAFS, GFC, different promotions that back in the day, 5 years ago, you didn't have that.
No.
So basically, getting into the door was actually just if you knew somebody, that's how you got into a door.
Yeah. And I think as well, like you said there, the exposure, because even if you've got friends that live in the same area as you that maybe would like to watch you fight, but they can't make it for whatever reason, maybe distance or commitments that they can't get away from, the fact that they can just have Fight Pass and then sit there and watch it from home, it's just a nice access. It's just another thing that adds to it, it just helps, I think.
It helps the sport grow, and it helps the people who, like you just said, who are unable for some odd reason, even if, let's say you have training partners and they can't go because of, obviously you're only allowed, if let's say you go to Vegas and you're fighting, you only have 3 people fighting, and or somewhere else out of the country, but it's on the UFC Fight Pass, they can actually see it and watch it instead of waiting to see what happens. They know what's going on immediately. Yeah,
exactly. And you said before that you had the 5 years off and Charlie had the time off, and there was a difference with him, and same with yourself. That's maturity, though. That's just something that comes along with time. You do mature as a person, as a fighter, and you'll look back at some of the stuff you did, and you'll also watch fights, not that you've competed in, but just fights in general, and you'll see a lot and you absorb a lot. Your brain just absorbs it all without you even knowing. Subconscious just takes it all in, and then when you do train and you start to just smoothing off those rough edges and clean everything up, it's just a different. You should be a different fighter, especially when you guys have had time off. You should definitely have larger improvements.
Oh, you do, totally. And another thing that I will say is when you take time off, you actually appreciate the sport a lot more. Because so many people jump into it, just like any other sport. You get into it and you expect it to be there. But if it's taken away dramatically, or for some, could be financial reasons, could be personal reasons, whatever reasons, and it's taken away from you, when you actually get that opportunity back, you actually appreciate that opportunity a lot more. You tend to work harder a lot more than what you did before. You understand a lot of things, and I would just say, like I said, you care about it a lot more. So it's a better situation overall.
Yeah, you do care. Yeah, I'd agree with you on that one. Yeah, there is like it's like a bond, isn't it? A connection that you have with it, and it's. The fight game, like, not every sport is for everyone. There are people out there who actually think golf is an exciting sport. And do you know what? And cricket, there's people out there who think cricket is a decent sport. And that's fine. But then there's guys like ourselves, we love MMA, and it's just a connection and a bond that, when you have that time off and then you get back to it, you almost, like you say, it's like you fall in love again.
Oh, you do. It's the appreciation of the sport, and the appreciation of competition, going against somebody else, the art of combat. Because, like you said, there's not a lot of people who can. A lot of people like the sport. Obviously, the popularity is out there. How many people can actually do the sport? How many people can get into a ring or a cage and perform at a high level, who can take a punch, who can give a punch, and afterwards be respectful towards each other, because that's what it is. It's a respect towards each other, but it's a competition to see who is better at that day. It's like any given Sunday in football, anyone can be beat. And in MMA, it's the same way. Anyone can be beat any given time.
Yes.
That's why you put as much work and hard work and dedication into it, so you try to keep those incidents from ever happening.
You do. You're spot on there. Now, with your time off then, what did you learn about yourself and just in general, what kind of things changed for you in MMA context?
Basically, changing the skill. More people are becoming more mixed. Especially in 2010, everyone was doing Muay Thai or kickboxing, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu. Now you see other fighters starting to incorporate other martial arts out there into their game. Taekwondo, obviously judo with Ronda Rousey. Different players are bringing different styles, including the basic styles that were before.
Yeah.
So every day the game is evolving more and more and more. Now, if somebody ever sits there and says, I'm good at one thing and that's all I need, or I'm good at two things, that's not going to work anymore. Obviously, at one time, one art was good. Now it's up to two or three. Now it's getting to a point where
you're having to do 4, 5, 6 different things to be able to evolve with everything.
Yeah.
Which is not bad. It's what mixed martial arts is. It's mixed. It's everything. Obviously, you're not going to be the greatest at everything, but if you're well-rounded at your and honing your skills, you will be fine.
Yeah, you could never have the level of boxing that like an Evander Holyfield or Mike Tyson or Lennox Lewis or, you know, an Oscar De La Hoya. You're never going to have that level of boxing because you can't box for that long and because you won't have time to do everything else. But as long as you can get as long as you get the foundations, the fundamentals of certain martial arts, that will help round your game off. As long as you understand the fundamental side of it.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is everyone knows this on the documentary of what Bruce Lee. He had 5 different martial arts that, and I could be wrong. But I know he had 5 martial arts that he took, and he would expert 5 or 10 moves of them, and then base everything off of that. That's kind of where the world of MMA is. Like you get your basic moves from different styles,
Yeah.
and then you hone them, and basically become great at those skills. And then when you go against somebody else that might have a different skill, whose skill is basically honed better.
Yeah. It is, yeah.
Is the result.
And that's what I love about the sport. Like you say, it is guys are just adding, and girls, sorry, and I didn't mean to be sexist there, I didn't try to leave the ladies out, sorry. You know, fighters are just adding more to their game, they're experimenting a lot more. They're also, the beautiful thing is, people are trying now to kind of blend the martial arts together. So people are trying to link in different martial arts, catch wrestling, jiu-jitsu to then Muay Thai. They're trying to think how they can blend them all in to make them not just individual martial arts, but one martial art, is, you know, so it flows rather than having it is broken up into each bit. They're trying to, and that's what I love about it, you see. So you'll watch a fight and you see how people mix all the transitions up, and it's just something to really get excited about. And especially with the amateur ranks, it's something that you're able to do a lot more experimenting in. You can do a lot more to learn your trade, learn the craft of the pro before you go into the pro ranks, and then obviously you get to this level where you're fighting for a title at the amateur rank. So it means it clearly shows that your skill set is more well rounded than other amateurs, which means you're closer to the pro ranks.
Right, correct. I agree with that 100%.
And that's the thing, like, you're now at that stage where that's the thing, when the titles start coming along and there's titles all around, and that's what you'll do when you're in the amateur ranks. It's basically kind of saying that you may be 1 or 2 fights away from pro ranks, or it's a case of when you feel ready, off you go to the pro ranks. Is that something that's been in your mind?
Not every fight. I look at it like this: every fight is a different challenge.
Yeah.
Obviously, this fight coming up, they offered this one, and then, like I said, they offered me a pro debut on April 29th if I take this card. Well, that's fine and dandy, but also at the same time, when I took it, I know 100%, hey, I have to perform. I have to do well. I have to win on this.
Yeah.
If not, why do I want to turn pro in a loss? You don't do that.
No.
So, and I don't know what Charlie's situation is like, so I can't speak for him. But I would say if they were offering him the same thing, hey, you got 2 people, 1 pro spot, whoever wins gets to go on. So
Yeah.
that's how I look. And every like I said, that's when then it goes back to your like you never want to lose. It's your competition. I don't want to lose. I never want to lose. I don't want to lose on anything. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's an argument. I don't care if it's a game of checkers, a PlayStation game, or a fight. I don't like losing. And going into this fight, I want to make sure I do everything I need to do. I perform well, execute everything I need to do, get the win, and then when I'm walking into the April 29th card, I'm on a roll.
Yes.
And that's what I want.
Yeah, you've got that momentum built, you've got that confidence, and that's what yeah, exactly. So when you go in there, you know you're going to just continue doing what you're doing.
Just keep on building on top of the foundation that you built.
Exactly. And look, you're not looking too far ahead, you're looking at exactly what's happening this weekend when you fight Charlie Alexander, the Valor Fights. Now, people can stream the fight because it's it's on the. If you go to Valor Fights webpage, there is links to. It basically tells you how to go and stream it if you want to watch it. If you cannot make it to the venue itself, which is, not everyone can get to every venue of every card that happens around the world. So that's the beautiful thing about technology, is that we can stream stuff these days, and it's starting to become more and more common, which I love. Now, before I let you go, can you let everyone know what your social media stuff and that is?
Actually, my Facebook page is Jason Wolf, WOLF. That's the only thing I have set up now. I'm kind of old school. If I get this win and keep on going forward, obviously I'll start getting bigger onto the social media. But as of right now, it's just Jason Wolf on the Facebook page.
Hey, oh, you'll have to when you turn out pro ranks, you're gonna have to start getting all that social media going. Telling you, it's got to happen.
I'm gonna have to. Yes, sir.
Oh, mate, it's an absolute pain in the backside maintaining it all, but you've got to do it. It's part and parcel of the game, my friend. What about if you have any sponsors, and if you've give a shout out to your gym, your training partners, friends, family, stuff like that.
I do want to give a shout out to the 3 gyms I've been training at: X3, Strikers, and Great West Cobb and Georgia. Shout out to all my teammates. I have a long list, so I can't really list them all, but I want to say thank you to each and every one of you guys for helping me get ready for this fight, being there for me, taking the beatings and giving me the beatings that I need, pushing me, all my coaches and professors, my family, most of all, God, for giving me an opportunity to step into the cage, and that's it.
Look, thank you very much for your time, Jason. Have a great fight and have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself, okay?
Yes, sir. You too. Thank you so much.
Okay, 27th of February, I have Douglas Usher with me. He'll be facing off with Jason Gifford. Now, Douglas, it's not far off. Preparation, I hope, has went absolutely spot on and everything is ticking along nicely.
Yes, preparation is going very well. That's exactly what I need for this fight. It's going to be a hard fight. It's going to be a tough fight. No fight is an easy fight. That's the way I see it. And I look forward to coming back to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and making my return in front of the fans. And it's an overwhelmingly a lot amount of people that are very excited to see me return to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and fight again.
Does that excite you as well, knowing that you've got that kind of following, that that massive people that looking forward to you competing?
Right. Well, I competed there back in 2012 against a local hometown hero, as you should say, by the name of Jesse Grun, who is now a good friend of mine. And his fans are going to be there because he's the main event of that fight.
Yeah,
of that show.
Yeah, he's fighting Felipe. Yeah.
Right, and his fans are kind of my fans. I kind of won a lot of them over, including his family members. And after that fight, and he fought last year. I went to one of his fights and just showed up, and the reception that I got from everyone and all of his fans was just amazing. I never thought that they would like me so much. But we had a great fight between me and him.
So I imagine then have you been working together at all then since then? Have you trained together? Seeing how there's been a bit of a since the fight, there's been a bit of a companionship, I imagine. But there is a respect for each other after a fight.
Right. Well, actually, there's a funny thing about that. We haven't trained together after the fight. We trained together before the fight. So that's kind of crazy. Yeah, I trained with him his fight before his first pro fight, which was against me. So yeah, it's kind of weird, man. We kind of hit each other up on Facebook and was like, well, they want us to fight, and I was like, well, how much they paying us? And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess we got to do it. And he was like, all right, I'll see you then. And we fought. So.
Yeah, so sometimes it is a bit awkward when you've trained together, but I've said to people before, it's almost sometimes bound to happen, especially if you're fighting on a regional area, it's sometimes going to happen, especially if you're in say whatever weight class you're in. If you're in the light heavyweight, if you're in the bantamweight, if you're in the heavyweight, or if you're in the flyweight, whatever division you're in, if you're looking for guys to train with around your weight, well, you're obviously going to train with people who are going to be local or close to, and eventually you might end up crossing paths. It's something that just happens. It even happens at the highest level.
Right, it's business. At the end of the day, it's business. You're friends before the fight. You're enemies during the fight, and then as soon as it's over with, you're back friends again. So
yes,
I mean, it's business. Man.
It is, and it's good. It's beautiful. That's what I love about the sport. And now, like I say, you said before, it's going to be a tough match against Jason. Do you look forward to having a tough match? Because I think some guys, they like to. Some guys pad their records. Let's put it out there. There is guys out there that will have like 10 fights. They've all the guys they've fought have got ridiculously high losing records. They'll even fight the same guy twice just to pad the record out. And the thing is, they never like to test themselves. You said you got a nice tough fight. Is that something you thrive on? When the fact that you get, when your matchup's coming, it's not going to be, a bit go in and it's going to be quick. Well, I'm not saying it's not going to be. You could go in there, you could hit him once and lights out. That's ideal, but you've got the challenge there of a potential tough fight.
Right. My whole amateur career and pro career, I've never fought tomato cans or garbage cans or whatever you want to call them. My coach always made sure I had tough fights, and majority of the time the guys either have the same record or a close record to me, or they have a better record than I have. So I can honestly say, I'm 4-3. As a pro, I went 6-0 as an amateur. Lost my first 2 pro fights, and then won 4 in a row, and then lost my last one. So I've fought black belts. I fought sambo guys. I fought karate guys. Black belts in jiu-jitsu, that is, and it's competition. I like the competition. I don't thrive on fighting easy guys because this is a funny thing. The thing that scares me, if I were to try to fight a journeyman or something like that, somebody with just an awful record. Say that 1-13 guy comes in there and he just decides he wants to fight that day and just KOs you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have that on your record. You got KO'd by a guy that's 1-13. And I could never live that down. So, I like tough fights, man. I like competitive fights, and that's what the spirit of fighting is about. I don't want to disrespect the spirit of the warrior, of combat, or the art of fighting, or anything like that by doing something like that. So Jason is a big guy. He's he likes to bang, and he's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, so he's going to be good on the ground. So you want to always fight somebody that's going to test you at every aspect of fighting, of martial arts. You understand what I'm saying?
I do, yes, absolutely.
You want to be tested. That's what the fight, to me, that's what the fight is for you to test yourself and for you to be tested. If you don't learn anything from the fight, including a loss, then you defeat the purpose of ever getting in the cage or the ring or whatever it is that you may be doing. So that's my outlook on it. That's how I feel about it. But no easy fights for me.
So with that aspect, then, with the losses, when you had the losses, did you go back and say, right, I definitely need to work on, for example, a certain aspect? Or did you focus then on a particular aspect, or did you just take the whole fight and analyze it all?
Right. As soon as it's over with, as soon as you get the video of it, I go back and I rewatch everything, even the wins. I go back and I rewatch everything and look at the mistakes, look at the holes, look at what I should have done versus what I did. I also go back and look at the training camp. I look at the diet. I look at the food that I ate the day of, what I should have ate, what I didn't, what I didn't eat, what I did eat. How much rest I should have got. Things like that. All of that plays a major factor into your performance that night. You could, and I've lost a few fights because of this, because I did not eat properly the day of the fight. with nerves and everything like that. And you go in there and you throw the first punch, and all of a sudden your body just dies, and you have no energy to do anything at all. You're just surviving off of willpower.
Yeah.
Because you don't have enough energy or ate enough food for your body to actually produce that type of output. And that's cost me a few fights. And I'm still learning from that and learning how to eat properly the day of the fight. So, hopefully I got that down packed this time. I got preparations already made. I got food put up and things like that. And that is a major part of the competition that day. Also being hydrated correctly.
Yeah.
If you're dehydrated, you're in there trying to fight, you're never going to make it. I mean,
No,
you
you're
can be in
right.
the best shape, you have the best training camp in the world, and you go in there, you don't have the essential vitamins and nutrients in your body to perform, and you can't. It's like a race car, man. You can't drive a race car on 87 octane. It's got to have at least 116 octane in it, for it to perform the way it's supposed to.
Hey,
So,
look, you are spot on there. Honestly, everything you're saying there is because I've spoke to a nutritionalist. We had nutrition on, and he said the same thing, that one of the common features he found with fighters was that they'll eat clean, they'll get their diet right, so that when they get on the scales, they weigh whatever they need to weigh, and then as soon as they get off the scales, they just gorge on food, and they think, look, your body's just been on a strict diet to get yourself on weight, and then all of a sudden you just stuff in your face with food. He said your body goes into almost like shock because it's not used to having that amount of food, considering you're going to perform the next day. He says, it's a huge factor that fighters don't take into account, that they need to take the time rehydrating, take their time getting the food back in, and it plays a big part in their performance as well.
Right. Yes, that plays a huge part in the performance. And, I never had anybody really teach me how to diet and how to, recover for, what to eat the day of the fight. I've seen a lot of guys were in great shape, close friends of mine, teammates and stuff, and they just eat pasta all day, and then got into the fight and just died as soon as the fight started because they overloaded on carbs.
Yeah.
It's a certain science that you have to have down to making weight and then putting it back on correctly.
Yeah, it
so
is.
That's very, very important for your performance the night of the fight.
And obviously, you say you go back, you analyze it. Do you feel that you've had a good amount of amateur fights and professional fights now? Do you feel that you're starting to get to the point where it's flowing a lot clearly now? You know when you're gonna eat. You know roughly what you're gonna eat. Have you got a much clearer picture of how your training camps go now?
Yes, I changed a lot of things this camp. Brought in an extra coach. And worked a lot more with my two primary coaches. And man, this training camp has been amazing. There's a lot of things, man, that just opened up to me in this camp. And definitely learned from last camp and last fight. So this should go a little bit differently from now on, from here on out. But we'll see how this all works out on next Saturday night when I get in the ring.
Well, that's the thing. It's one of those ones where you'll go back after this fight and you might even say to yourself, do you know what, we could have done this, and you'll probably always tweak it slightly. You'll always start to maybe look at it differently. But the thing is, as long as you're getting it as close to a perfect camp as you can get it, that's what you ideally want.
Right. Yeah, that's what you want. No injuries or anything like that, man, and try to go into the fight night, fresh. That's what you want. With a clear mind and, just tuned in and ready to go.
And look, I'm sure then the way you feel, the way you're talking, it sounds like you know how to get yourself prepped. It sounds like you're confident with the way you got the coaching structured for this camp. It sounds like you're going to have an excellent performance against Jason. And, I'm sure Jason's going to bring his best and his A game as well, which will bring, a great fight for the fans. That's the key thing, that it's prize fighting at the end of the day, and it's all about performances.
Right.
And that people love to see an exciting bout. You know, two guys that will either have a great grappling exchange or a great stand-up fight. You know, it's all, you know, if we are lucky, we get both. You know, that's what we're all hoping to see, really, coming on the 27th.
Right. Where are you from?
UK, my friend.
UK. Cheers, mate.
Yeah, all the way in the UK, across the pond, my friend.
Yeah, that's great, man. They're fun people, man. Fun people.
Oh yeah, I say we're fun. Yeah, we're not too bad. yeah, up on the Isle of Man in the UK is where I'm based.
Right.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, my friend. We have the TT races. That's the motorbike road race, and that's how, if you want to research where we are, type that into Google, and you'll probably, you know, your jaw will hit the ground when you see it, what they do. It's awesome stuff, though. Yeah,
right.
That's where we are. But look, even in the UK, we're spreading out. You know, the Valor Fights and you name it. And look, and that's why we get you on, because we want to let people learn about new fighters that they might not get the opportunity to know of, because there's so many promotions out there. It's hard to keep up with them. So we try to get a bit of every flavour from all around the world. So look, 27th of February, Jason is going to face off with yourself, and it's going to be a hell of a fight. I'm sure it is. Now, what I want to check though before, have you got any social media, buddy, that people can jump onto and give you a follow?
Yes, Facebook.com, Doug or Douglas Usher, and Twitter. My Twitter tag is at Yamato. That's YAMATO _Usher. USHER.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, get on, give him a follow. And what about have you got any sponsors there that help you out?
None this fight. No sponsors this fight. I want to thank my coaches, for Good Camp, Hard Camp, Rodrigo Archulario, Manu Ento, Tim Stout, and Gable Kitover.
Awesome stuff. And look, like I said before, have a great fight, enjoy yourself, and enjoy the last little bits of your fight camp. And look, I want to wish you a great, fantastic 2016.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining me, Felipe Portela. I have to say, thank you for giving me your time. And I'm going to start off by saying you're taking on Jesse Grun at the Valor fight. Now, sir, since your since your outing, let's say, on the Tough series, since then, you had your fight. You didn't get the decision. What have you been working on in that time since obviously you got this fight coming up?
Since I got off the house, I never stopped training. I've been training a lot at Black Zillions. So I didn't have vacation. This year I've been training. Since my last fight, I took some time off. Because I just had a baby. But I was training the whole time, and I feel like I'm a much better fighter. I'm finally getting the rhythm. Again. That's why I'm fighting again. I want to be active. I want to have, I want to be ready, to be fighting all the time, because I had like a big layoff here, so I want to go back on track, and I'm feeling I'm getting there. I've been working a lot on my striking, my boxing, and I feel I'm very prepared for this fight.
Well, congratulations on the little one. I hope the little one is very healthy and everything's going well on that side of things.
Yes, she's very healthy. Thanks,
awesome. You must enjoy being a father. It must be great.
Yeah, it's been very fun to be a father. It's a big motivation. Every day I wake up and I want to give her a better life. And it's been awesome, Like the first month was very tough to train and work and do everything because I couldn't sleep, but now it's been awesome.
Yeah, it's just getting a routine, isn't it? Once you get that routine in place, everything will start to come together. And like you say, you want to give the little one a better life, and you believe that you've got the talent to get there, to make it to the big stage. Let's say the UFC. Now you want to have 2016 to be the biggest year yet. I imagine it's like you said, you're working on your striking. Is that something that you felt is an area particularly that you needed to work on more than any other area?
The thing is, like, since I got in US, I was a very good striker, and I had a good ground game. And I got in US, and my biggest weakness was my wrestling. So I was working a lot on my wrestling. To get in the house, I was training a lot of wrestling. And I think I left my striking a little bit on the side, because I thought I would fight a wrestler, though, on the house, too. I always think about wrestling. When I moved to Black Zillions was to improve my wrestling. And now I understand, like, I cannot leave my strengths on the side. So for this fight, I work a lot on my striking, and my ground game I think is very sharp. Everything's sharp, my wrestling improves so much, I feel like I'm ready, Now that I have a good wrestling, I feel like I'll be more comfortable to use my striking. That was my main goal.
Yeah.
Since the beginning, have a good wrestling to use my striking.
Yeah, so that you can stop the takedown to use your striking. So originally then, when you first started training, was wrestling just not accessible for you? Was that one of the limits that you had, that a quality wrestling coach was something you weren't able to access?
Yeah, I'm from Brazil, so in Brazil we don't have good wrestling. It's very hard to find a place to train wrestling, and America is very, very good. So when I moved to San Diego first, I was training, but there wasn't like a very good wrestling here. I have like amazing wrestlers. I have people like on my weight, like they're wrestlers, and MMA fighters on UFC fighters, So I think that brought my level up on wrestling. I was like, my wrestling became better than my strike at some point. I believe that's the point. Like you train, so you gotta. The thing is, it's like a video game. Some bars go up, so another one goes down.
Yeah. I saw the wrestling coach work with Anthony Johnson at Black Zillions. He looks like a gorilla. With like a shaved, he's got no hair, hasn't he? It just looks like gorilla, if I recall off the top of my head.
This is another wrestling coach. It's Babak, but we have Greg Jones. He's a very good wrestling coach. We have both at the same. So we have like amazing coaches. We have Neil Melanson. He's amazing, like the catch wrestling and ground game coach. So I've been working with these guys, and I feel like my ground game, wrestling game, MMA game, like it's 10 times better than it was before.
Yeah, what I like about Black
Zillions
as well is that it's slowly evolving all the time. The gym, when it first came about, it was still at its infancy with the coaching and people like that. It's starting to slowly get that structure in, and obviously, the guys that are training there, you can see how well it's paying off. And it seems that guys who go there, we've had, for example, from the UK, you got Danny Roberts training there as well, and it's great to see that it is growing, and the gym is starting to really settle itself down as a gym to go to.
Yeah, no, the gym is growing, and I believe everybody's now together, working together, and the coach, they are working together to make us better fighters. And we have like a lot of good coaches, a lot of good partners, training partners. Like you said, Danny, he's on my weight, so I have like on the mat probably like 5, 6, 7 guys, high level guys to train with. Everybody who's on the mat is doing something. Even either wrestling or striking or black belt in jiu-jitsu, you know.
Yeah.
So every time we help each other to improve, you know. And the coach, they are always there to help us. And Glenn, he makes a very nice job. If we need something else, they bring somebody, you know, to work with us, you know. And everybody is being, if you see Anthony Johnson last fight, his wrestling was much better, you know. Everybody's getting better and better, you know. That's good. We are very united as a team now.
Yeah, you can definitely see that, and you can obviously the results, you know, kind of emphasize that as well. Having that, then, you know, that it must make you as well feel a lot more confident when your training's going so well and everyone's working together. It must give you a lot more confidence then going into the cage, I'd imagine. So this fight you've got coming up, your confidence must be through the roof.
For sure, man. Definitely, like the people I've been training with, you know, and the way I've been training for this fight, I'm very confident. You know, I know fight's a fight. You know, everything can happen.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm way more prepared than this guy. You know, this guy didn't have the training partners that I had. You know, so and I believe our gym, it's a different gym. You know, we have like so much hard training and, you know, good partners. You know, and we spar like with Anthony Johnson. We will have like Camaro. We have like, you know, so many guys. You know, so many good people. And it's very hard, you know. Look to one side, look to another side. There is no easy training.
No, not absolutely. I imagine. Well, if you're training with Anthony Johnson, I imagine he punches like he's got pillows on his hands.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah, I would probably try and just cut one of my arms off so I go down a couple of weight classes so I don't have to train with him. That's what I'll be trying to do. But like I say, you know, having someone like him there who's one of the top contenders, and you know, you've had a lot of guys in this gym training. You have that confidence when you're sparring, when you're rolling, whatever you're wrestling, whatever you're doing with them. You know, when you're competing with these guys and you're holding yourself, you're holding your own, that really does help you as a fighter, know that you've got the capabilities for yourself to get to that UFC contract, because that is obviously your ultimate goal, hence why you did The Ultimate Fighter and stuff like that.
The way I feel now in my career is like I always been like close, but I never got like the real good opportunity, you know. And I believe I belong to the top guys. That's what I believe. I train with the best guys, and I know I can handle myself, and I know what is my level. And that's why I still. But I gotta prove to the world. That's why I wanna be active. I wanna fight. Well, how many fights I will have to do it, I will do it. And I wanna find a bigger show. You know, I wanna show the world what I'm capable of. You know, and that's my main goal now. And I know, like, if I train with those guys, I can fight anybody in the world. You know, can give me a Robbie Lawler, I know I'm gonna fight him.
Well,
I'm ready for anybody.
Considering Robbie's at ATT, I think you would want to fight him.
I'm sorry, but I can't hear you now.
No, it's okay, man. I was saying because Robbie trains at ATT, I'm sure you would want to fight him.
Yeah, everybody wants to fight him.
Look, Felipe, do you know what? I like the fact that what I'm hearing at Black Zillions is coming through, and the fight that you've got coming up, man. It sounds like you've had the time away, obviously family time. Your little one's a great motivation and inspiration for you, and obviously the guys at the gym. That it feels like you've got a lot of positives going into 2016, and you've got a lot going for you to make this year the kind of year that really is going to make a benchmark in your career.
Yes, for sure. That this year, you know, I hadn't stopped since the Ultimate Fighter. Been training, you know, non-stop, and I just realized, man, now like I'm 28 years old, you know, and I gotta make it. You know, I have no more time to spend. So I've been putting a lot of work, you know, I've been training a lot. And I want to give a better life to my daughter. When she's born, I born with her, you know. I'm a new man, brand new man. I feel like I'm very prepared to show my skills, you know. That's what I want. I want to go there, I want to fight, and I prove that I'm good, you know. That's why I'm training at Black Zenas, because I know I can fight, I can make it, you know, and I want to make it now, you know. I have no more time left. Before I was, I have some more time to get on UFC or, you know, whatever. But now I have no more time left. I gotta make it, you know, and that's why I'm gonna fight February 27th. And if something comes up in April, I will defend my belt, whatever, you know. I'm ready, man. I wanna be fighting all the time. If you call me, I'm ready. Just call me.
Hey, look, I love that attitude, and I'll tell you what, am I free that weekend? Do you know what? I am free that weekend as well, so I will be tuning in to watch these fights on Valor Fights, because you can watch it, you can stream it, ladies and gentlemen, because I can't get there physically. You can watch it online. That's a beautiful thing about technology. So, look, Felipe, for example, I'm in the UK and I'm speaking to you right now. It's great you're in the States. You know, that's what technology is for, communication. I will be watching the fight with invested interest. I can't wait to see the card itself. Felipe, before I let you go, though, sir, can you let everyone at home know what your social media is? So if you've got like a Twitter, a Facebook, etc., just to let everyone know what it is.
Yeah. I know it's everybody who wants to support me, you know, it's very hard to be a fighter on these days. So hit me up on my Facebook. I have a Facebook page, Felipe Portela, and I have my Instagram, Felipe B Portela, you know, and Twitter, you know, whatever. Just hit me up, you know. Gotta thank my team, Black Zillions, my manager, you know, who is putting all the fights together for me all the time and helping me, Glenn Robson. And I gotta thanks everybody, my partners, you know, Animal Shorts, my sponsor, he's been helping me, you know. And that's very hard. I need more sponsors. I want to do this as a full-time job, you know. So who wants to believe on me now, I won't forget in the future, all right? So
right.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Don't miss the fight, February 27th. I'm going there. I'm going to destroy this man.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard him. Tune in. If you cannot make it there, tune in online and watch it, and watch this man put a performance on worth watching and worth remembering, because you'll all be talking about it the next day. Felipe, sir, thank you very much for your time, and honestly, have a fantastic weekend at the fight. I have a great 2016 as well, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate your opportunity to speak up here, and thank you very much, and see you next time, alright?
Okay, 27th February. Jesse, you are fighting Felipe on Valor Fights. It's going to be a hell of a matchup. I have to say, Valor Fights, they're starting to actually get on the map a little bit more themselves as a promotion. They're putting on really nice quality matchups. I also hear on the grapevine from the CEO, Tim, that they're looking at pin down and have it ink deal with UFC Fight Pass as well. So things are looking up. You must be stoked for this matchup, because this matchup itself is a great matchup for you, I feel.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm honored to even have the matchup with Felipe. He's definitely got the bigger name coming from the bigger gym, the more well-known gym, and so definitely excited for the matchup. It's definitely a great opportunity for me.
Well, that's what I was thinking as well, like you say. But it was, like you say, it's a big matchup. It's a good to get his name on your list, on your little win list there. It does help you a lot. It definitely promotes you as a fighter around the scene a lot more.
Absolutely. And I'm one of those guys. I've been around for over 10 years now. So I mean, it's
it's not how many tomato cans you fought. You know, it's how many quality good guys you've got wins against. So that's what I'm interested in. So definitely happy with the matchup.
So when you got the matchup made and assigned and you agreed to it, did your training camp take a more kind of different look to it? Because, you know, to get the win, you obviously have to put the effort in. You know that he comes from a gym with, you know, very high level coaching and even guys around him in training partners. I imagine your focus in training probably went to a different intensity.
I mean, we were still looking at the championship matchup, so we knew it was definitely going to be a work your butt off top fight. So yeah, I mean, definitely been enjoying just being able to fight a bigger name, and it's definitely been more motivating for me. I will say that, just knowing that I'm having a good quality guy. There's always a fire under you when you know you're going to be in for a tough opponent. So that's definitely has helped. Yes.
Have you then looked at have you outsourced, let's say, to get maybe more training partners in and anything like that? Have you went to other gyms to train just to get?
We definitely try to cross train, get as many different looks as we can. The MMA Institute of Dayton is where I train, but we're actually an affiliate gym of the MMA Institute of Virginia. And so we go up there, and there's tons of guys, professional guys, good quality guys. So we're just a branch of the main gym.
Yeah.
So we definitely go up there as much as we can.
I'm sure that helped as well for this training camp, going up there and obviously, like you say, mixing up with other professionals. Because sometimes, I think it's more apparent on the UFC scene when. I remember Glover Teixeira, he went and was training with an offset of ATT in Wisconsin, I think it was. He wasn't training around the guys that he would normally train around, the high-level fighters, and he went into the match, he didn't even look, he looked a shadow of himself, lost the matchup. I can't remember who it was against now, it's gonna evade me, but then he came back afterwards, went and trained at ATT headquarters, came back a different fighter. It does make a difference, sometimes when you do go and get those guys around you, especially when you're prepping for a fight and a matchup. And like I say, with Felipe, you definitely will have benefited going to that, like let's say the headquarters, let's say.
Oh, definitely. I mean, just getting out of your comfort zone is good. If you're in your home gym, your comfort, you're relaxed. Even if you bring in good guys, good quality guys, you got to get out to different gyms, get out of your comfort zone. You have to go with good guys to test yourself. I think that's very important. I agree.
Yeah, it does, my friend. It does indeed. Now, like I said before, Valor, they're looking to put good fights on. 2016. It's kicking off with a very, a reputable name you're going up against. You've got a chance here to kind of get your 2016 off to a very good start. Have you got any kind of goals set for 2016? Have you got yourself, have you got any future plans for this year? Are you looking to get anywhere in particular? Or are you just looking to take each fight as it comes?
I take each fight as it comes. I try to focus on, the fight at hand, but I definitely want to, stay consistent this year. I think that's been my biggest problem in the beginning of my professional career is, I would have life get in the way, and so it would be a year or two in between fights, and you can't do that and be competitive. It's just, you lose the feel of being in a cage. Instead of swing rust, I mean, I don't necessarily believe in that, but I know, you can get in a good routine, good training routine, and just, get used to being out there in front of everybody. So plan on staying busy, keep my head to the grind, and just seeing what I can do this year, definitely.
Yeah, I was going to say, because as long as you're injury-free, and as long as your life, outside of the cage, your personal life doesn't stop you, because sometimes, guys I've spoke to, that their work life just can't, it doesn't let them go and compete as often because they're a bit restricted with work life. Or I spoke to some guys who, they've got a work life and they've got studies on as well. Sometimes it just is, it's difficult to, and
that's
that's actually been one of my biggest issues is job schedule, family life, and I've finally been able to get everything scheduled to where I have time to compete, I have time to fight. That's why last year I had 3 fights. I'm able to do that now, and it's definitely opened up the doors for me to be able to do it more competitively and more full time. That's been a blessing in itself. Like you said, you have to have time to commit to the sport, especially on a professional level.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going nowhere. You can't be silly about it.
No, you can't really put half an effort in, can you? Can't go half-hearted. It is one of them, especially because it's combat.
It definitely shows.
Yeah, it's combat sport at the end of the day, and if you go in half-hearted and your opponent went in full tilt, you're going to possibly get hurt, and you could get hurt very badly. You don't want to end up with a knockout and you get knocked out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it's one of them ones where you should take it seriously because, like I said, you don't want to get hurt, and it's like you said there. You've got yourself in order now. You can make the time. It's good because that means not only is it going to be safer for yourself. It sounds a little bit silly, but it's going to be safer. You're going in with the right mindset now because you're confident.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not as stressed. I'm not worrying about other things because if you don't have the time, you kind of tend to not give 100% in certain areas.
Yeah.
And so now I've got my schedule freed up. I can commit. It's definitely been a lot. Mentally a lot better also.
Exactly. Like I said, the stress is gone, so you're more free, you're more relaxed, you're not tensed up in the matchups. You haven't got any things playing in the back of your mind either. You haven't got anything back of your mind playing up. And I actually spoke to Douglas Usher, and he was saying that, it's going to be a big crowd there, and he's saying that when you two met up and faced off each other, he got some of your fans, and it seems like there's going to be a big crowd there for you. You're going to have a lot of support as well.
Chattanooga always is a good turnout. They always come out and support, the local event. And, Doug, a lot of people have asked me about Doug coming up. He's definitely got some Chattanooga fans, from when he came up a few years back. And it's always a good, lively crowd in Chattanooga, definitely. And I enjoy being able to compete in front of, the hometown crowd. That always gives me a sense of pride, I prefer being the bad guy out of town, but it's always good to fight at home. It's always good to fight at home, though. Have that hometown crowd. That's always helpful.
Yeah, the crowd is just backing you up and the cheering. It just gives you that kind of buzz. It gives you that kind of it gives you that rush. It gives you that kind of adrenaline boost. Now.
Definitely, yeah.
It's going to be a hell of a fight against Felipe. It's going to be a great matchup. Look, I won't be there physically, but what I will be able to do is tune in and watch it. I'll be able to stream it. So I will.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, that's something I can do. And look, anyone who's listening, if you can't physically get there, it's not a problem. Like I said, you can go onto the Valor website. Valor Fights website, and they have the links there. You can follow it from there onwards, and you can watch it.
That's so awesome now that they can do that. And it gets you ready, just kind of being in front of them filming. Being able to look in the camera and get used to it. Just the whole media aspect of it has been one of the issues for me. I'm a shy guy, so that's definitely an awesome thing. I really enjoy that.
Hey, look, if you get, because like say if you're a bit shy and you're a bit nervous in front of the camera and stuff, do you know what a trick that I've been told is if you get naked in front of the camera, it helps you relax, or is it? Imagine it. It's something like that. It's something like that anyway.
Well, I always fight in my little I call them man panties, my little tighties. So I always figured, hey, if I can get out there and show my ass like that, I'll be fine.
I'll be fine, yeah. That's why you got such a big crowd following you, right?
Hey, yeah, it's a total package. I try to look my best and do my best, and I figure if a guy looks at me and he's like, hey, if he'll come out looking like that, I know this guy don't care. So
look, hey, I'll be like I say, I'll be tuning in. People at home tuning in. I'm sure there's going to be a hell of a lot of people there at the event itself. Before the fight kicks off, before everything happens, look, Jesse, how can people follow you on social media, and get behind you and just follow you?
Yeah, definitely. Facebook, Instagram, Jesse Grun, JSSEGRUN. I don't have a Twitter account, but I am on Facebook, Instagram. Very, very easy to find.
There you go. Jump on, give them a follow, ladies and gentlemen. And what about, have you got any sponsors there helping you out? Any people?
Yeah, I've got actually the local union, the local 175 IBW. They're backing me. Ron's Auto Care, Prestige Auto, Tennessee Solar Solutions, MMA Institute. A lot of support. Like I said, this being Chattanooga hometown. I've done a lot of articles, a lot of media. It's definitely been a very good, hopped up fight. Want to give a shout out to all the guys from the MMA Institute of Dayton. We've got 7 guys on this card. So we've been, yeah. So it's been awesome. Kind of take that role on as a leader, lead by example, pushing the guys. So it's been a great camp. I'm super excited, ready for a great event.
Hey, look, I think the gym's going to have a fun night. 7 guys there. There's going to be a great atmosphere, especially because you're all training together. You're peaking together at the same time. I'm sure it's going to be an excellent night, and the fight itself, you two fight, you and Felipe, is going to be a great fight anyway. But hey, look, I want to say, have a great weekend. Enjoy the whole experience. Enjoy that, the home crowd, and just have a great time, man.
Hey, that's one thing that I've learned. Just in longevity in the sport, you have to enjoy it. You have to, throw caution to the wind. And just enjoy the moment. Don't get so stressed out on what you have to do, because in the end of the day, this is what you like doing.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing I definitely try to tell the guys: go have fun. You put the work in. Enjoy yourself.
You're absolutely spot on. Look, thank you very much for your time, Jesse. And once again,
thank you so much for having me.
No, it was a pleasure, sir. Like I say, have a great fight, and have a great 2016.
Thank you so much.
I am joined right now by Samuel Ace Samples. Sir, you're fighting up on the upcoming Valor Fights card on 27th February. Firstly, thank you for joining us. And secondly, how's everything going with you in general then? How are you feeling? How's training camp feel? Are you in good spirits?
Yeah, man, I feel great. Definitely, last weekend was my anniversary. This weekend was Valentine's Day. I've really been able to deal with training and taking care of my family at the same time. It's been very non-stressful. Training's going great, man. I've really, really kicked into gear with my taekwondo. I've worked on a lot of different things, but obviously never really getting away from my hands. I feel good. I feel really, really confident moving in this fight. Coming off of a loss, I feel like, I'm really anxious to get back in the center and get my hand raised.
Now, like you said there, you're anxious to get back in there. Sometimes, though, it is good to step away for a little bit, because some guys want to rush in to get a win straight away, but maybe there is a hole in your game that was exposed, or maybe sometimes guys get catch. Sometimes it's good to step away, have a little bit of time to maybe rectify why it went wrong, and then go back in a little bit more prepared.
Definitely, man. My last fight, my last outing was, I got caught early and really, really got put on deer legs. So this fight camp, I really focused a lot more on my defense and my movement. It feels good to just kind of step away every now and then. You take a loss, you step back, you look at things, you figure out what changes you need to be making in your camp, where you need to make some lifestyle changes. It helps a lot. And going back into this fight camp, I was very, very confident. I'm able to look at it head on with a smile and know that just get in there and put forth the efforts that I've been putting forth in the camp, and I'll be fine.
Now, your opponent, TC Coleman, do you know much about your opponent yourself? Or have you left that to your coaches to basically research and break him down for you?
I've looked into him a little bit. I've watched his fights, I've studied them, I've broken them down, but I really have handed a lot of that over to my wife and my teammates, and let them really study and have their own perspective on what's going on. I haven't really seen anything from CC in his previous videos that I feel a major threat to me in any single aspect of martial arts. So I feel pretty good as far as video review, just being able to see the things I see about him online. I don't see him posting a whole lot of training videos or anything like that. So that may be his strategy.
Now, you mentioned there your wife looks at video. What people won't know, I believe your wife competes as well, doesn't she?
Yes, Ashley is quite a monster. She just won the Female Fighter of the Year this year. She's got that 2 years running. She's held several titles, kickboxing and MMA. She'll be looking to we're looking now to figure out where we're going to go with her pros, make a smart decision there. I mean, she's lost to some of the toughest girls in the country, and she can really hold those losses high. She's definitely a monster at 115 pounds.
Now, for any man out there, that must seem like the perfect woman, someone who competes as well. You know, it's any MMA fighter out there, it's kind of what we look for. But do you find that relationship then, it's based, I imagine, the fact that you're married, you know, you love each other, there's a trust matter, you must then take what you both say to each other, you know, you must listen to each other a lot, you must take it all in and accept it as the truth. You know, you must be able to criticize each other to a level where you both admit to accepting what you've said.
It definitely is. Me and Ashley, we work at the same job, and then we train all together as any other time. Now, we're literally never really apart, so it helps and it hurts. But, you know, fortunately, the arguments that her and I really have mostly are about inside of training. You know, getting too comfortable as a spouse inside of our gym and really kind of showing an attitude or showing frustration the way we shouldn't. And that's really, when you break it down and you think about it, for that really to be the only obstacles a marriage has, it's pretty kick-ass, pretty awesome. And not to mention, she gets to punch me in the face 2 or 3 days out of the week, and I get to do the same. So, I mean, it works itself out. A lot of people, I think, couldn't handle the stress of constantly being around their spouse. But me and Ashley are a pretty solid team. We hit it head on.
Do you know what? There's some people that can work. Like, my best friend is married, and he is like that. Him and his missus, apart from work, they work 2 different jobs. But other than that, they're literally tied at the hip. You know, it's hard to get them apart. But yeah, so I know exactly where you're coming from with that side. Some people, though, are complete opposites, and they can't wait to get away from their spouse, and they'll jump away for a few hours if they can. But do you know what? If it works, it doesn't matter. And yeah, so the fact that you train together, you know, you break each other's opponents down, and do you find, though, that maybe that helps you develop a bit quicker then, because you're constantly talking to each other in a sense of you're always around each other? Do you feel that you're always analysing each other's game because you want the best for each other? So I'd imagine you both break each other down a lot more than you would do, let's say, if it was just a casual teammate.
Yeah, it definitely, like, you know, most couples kind of play fight a lot of times. Well, Ashley and I will play fight and immediately have a full-on conversation after we're done for those 2 or 3 seconds of play fighting about, hey, this is what I noticed you did wrong, and this is what I could have got you with. It definitely, it's a little bit different.
Have you thought about maybe going to a different gym just for a little bit, just to have a different, I say, like not local gym, maybe even just go a little bit further away for a week to try another gym out and come back and then see how maybe the two of you are then, in a sense, if you pick anything up, you try stuff out, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something we've thought about. I mean, right now we are both kind of hitting the Taekwondo outlook together but separate. I mean, that's where we run our fight team at, and Curtis Barnett's really honestly one of the best Taekwondo instructors, if not the best in the Southeast, and as a fighter, he's at Olympic status. I mean, he's definitely a monster. So me and Ashley are both kind of looking at that, even though it's in the same place with our own perspective of it. But definitely, I mean, we need to look out and search and find new sparring partners, and we're always game to go check out a new gym. Just really depends on what's thrown our way.
Yeah, because I'd imagine, especially for your partner, because she's a female, she'd need to find female partners to spar with, so I'd imagine there's not as many around as there would be, for example, yourself to find sparring partners.
Yeah, definitely. It's much easier for me to find sparring partners than it is for Ashley. I mean, we literally have to probably get in the car and travel pretty extensive way to find a good, solid 115 that we know we could trust inside a fight camp and not try to have an ego about it or anything like that, and really get some solid work in.
So do you corner each other then during the fights? Or do you try to maybe keep yourself separate from that?
Nope, we're there sitting right by the cage.
Do you then obviously... Because do you find that it's easy to detach yourself from that emotional side of things? I'd imagine it might have an effect on the kind of technical aspect when you're trying to break down that round. You don't want to come in there and think, oh no, my missus just got cracked, or vice versa. Do you find that you're able to handle that kind of, emotional attachment?
Yeah, a lot of times, people are like, man, well, you really talk to Ashley very, very not nice, very asshole-ish. And you're mad. I'm like, a lot of people don't understand this. At the end of the day, my wife has to come home to not only me but my children, and I have to make sure that I can avoid them seeing mommy really beat up. I have to know that, that's my wife, and I would much rather upset a bunch of fans and a bunch of people on the outside because they think I'm being mean to Ashley, when in all reality, I need Ashley to understand something. I need her to understand she doesn't need to get hurt. And a lot of people just really, they never grasp that concept. There's a reason when me and Ashley spar that I really, really put it on her, and that's simply because I don't need somebody else that doesn't care for her the way that I do trying to do it. They may not stop when need be. I know when Ashley's hurt. I know when Ashley's making mistakes that she shouldn't be making. I know when she's not in the right place mentally, and it's the exact same way turned around. She knows exactly where I should be mentally in my training, in every aspect of my life, with my job, with our finances. She understands those things, and she puts forth the effort to make sure that it's done. And a lot of people really don't understand. There's a reason we have such a awesomely violent relationship, and it's because we don't need anybody else trying to go out there and hurt our spouse more than we could do inside of the gym.
Yeah.
Ashley goes in there every time with that mentality of, this is not Ace, this is not my husband, this is just another girl who weighs 115 pounds, and I need her to move, and I need to get out of this cage safely.
Well, that's the thing, yeah, exactly. It's okay for us to have for us blokes to have a messed up face, because it gives us character. Girls like we tell ourselves girls like a scar, but we don't. With the women, let's keep them looking pretty. For us, it doesn't matter. We're fine.
Yeah, we'll deal with it. It'll be all right.
Yeah, it's fine.
I got a nice full beard, so it hides a lot of the.
Yeah, we'll just say 10 ninjas jumped out on us, and that's all they left. That's the only mark they got. You should have seen that the rest of them didn't make it. That's the great thing about being a bloke. Now, Samuel, look, TC Coleman, yourself going to throw down at this Valor Fights. It seems that from what I've been speaking to with the CEO, Tim, they're going to be signing up with Fight Pass very shortly. Fingers crossed this might be on the Fight Pass card, but it's awesome if it does it gets a deal through that it'll be on UFC Fight Pass, because the exposure they can get for yourselves, it's huge on a level that it's hard to get through on regional shows. I see Fight Pass as making a big impact on the regional scene with signing up with all these promotions. It must excite, fighters like yourself, knowing that maybe stuff like this is coming along.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Tim Loy, it puts on one hell of a promotion. I feel like the world doesn't know enough about it as it is. But to be able to get on there, even with the slim possibility that it could be on Fight Pass, definitely, I'm not going to say adds some drive to me, because I'm really, really full, anxious, ready to go, but it definitely puts it in a perspective of, this could be that day, this could be that night, this could be that punch, this could be that situation. Somebody sees it could be spectacular enough to get skyrocketed straight in there. Let's be honest here, UFC signing a lot of guys, or a guy right now that was like 0-0. There's no reason why. I know plenty of locals, and I know a friend of mine, Cass Walton, has had this campaign going where he wanted to fight Sage Northcutt, and I know that Cass is a monster. And I feel like not enough people see the guys on the regional stages, so it definitely, 100%, if Valor can get everything on UFC Fight Pass like planned, that would be amazing.
It would be, but the thing is, that's because I think they need it on there because it helps them as well to see these guys. Because let's be honest, there is a lot of shows, not just in the region where you are. Like, let's think about the United States alone. How many shows go on? Then you got to think in Canada. Then you go down to, let's say, Brazil. Then you go to let's go to Asia, and you go to around the world. There's a lot of regional shows. it must be literally nearly impossible to keep up with all the guys, all the girls, and everything that's coming out. It's one of them ones where I can understand where guys get missed out from, like your guy there. I can understand why the people get missed out, because that's almost impossible to keep up with them all. And it's not the UFC's fault. It's not anyone's fault in particular. It's just the way life is. There's too many guys. There's too much going on, and some guys are going to slip through. And so, sometimes it's about marketability. If you can sell yourself a bit, you can get yourself a bit out there online. But I think this Fight Pass, it's a benefit for the UFC and for regional shows to get the guy who probably should be in the UFC by now. He might be able to shine, get to that highlight reel, get to that viral feed, and bang, there you go.
Yep. It's literally that quick.
And look, you're fighting.
Guys like us, their lives can be changed in a punch.
Yeah. Exactly, man. And that's the thing. Yeah, one punch, viral, bang, it's out there. Goes all over Twitter, Facebook, what else is there? Instagram. It goes out everywhere, and then that's it. That's all it takes. It starts a fire. And look, you're fighting Coleman coming up on this card on the 27th Feb. And there's a chance there that everything could light up for you, man. So, look, have a great fight, man. That's what I'm going to tell you right now. Have a great fight and have a great weekend. But before I let you go, Samuel, can you give everyone at home a shout-out to let them know what your social media stuff is so they know how to connect and hook up with you?
Yeah, man, definitely. You can go to Ace and Ash Samples on YouTube and have a complete highlight video that's there. You can look up Ace and Ashley on Facebook. We have separate profiles, just like we have the same. Look up Ace of Spades. Everybody go to my page, check that out, give it a like. Let's see, where else is there? Instagram at Team Samples 125, Twitter at Team Samples 125, and to all my sponsors, man. I mean, I've got literally companies on my back that are there because they know, just like me and you just talked about, that it could be right there on TV in a little bit of no time. Dixie Painting Construction, Rick Allen does an amazing job, always having my back on anything that needs painted, construction, anything. Big Dynamics in Athens, Fight to Finish, Killer Beard Oil for keeping my beard good and clean and big. Jersey Sports Bar, I got a great pre-fight hype party there Friday night. Can't wait to see everybody. Nalcol, company we work for, best stains in the business. Complete Nutrition keeps my body good, running, pumped, ready to go. All Automation of Athens, and Direct Paintless Dent Repair. Guys, it's hail season. It's serious out there. I mean, there's going to be snow. There's going to be all kinds of things. Don't hesitate to get with me and get these guys' numbers. They're right there in Tennessee. They can travel. They can help you out. Really fix your car back where it needs to be.
Awesome stuff. Sounds like you've got some legit people there backing you up, and it sounds good, mate. It's good to have those people helping you out. And look, last but not least, obviously you can give props to your missus. But what about other coaches, training partners, people like that?
Yeah, definitely. Curtis Barnett, like I said, my taekwondo is going extremely wild. Chris Barnett, always there pushing me. I mean, he's 13-2 as a pro right now. He just got back from fighting for Rizin in Japan. He's definitely on a tear. Definitely on a tear. If the UFC had a super heavyweight division, Chris would be in there and be 100% owning it. All my training partners, Benjamin Brown, one of my go-to guys now. He's fighting on the same night I am in the undercard. The guy's an animal. Work ethic like a horse. The guy is an animal. Clean animal. My wife, definitely, Ashley, holds me down. She does everything I need. She cooks, cleans, trains, teaches, everything, top to bottom. That's pretty much my team, man. My team and my family. They're always there to support me. Anytime I post anything on Facebook, it's immediately got 100 likes with people that just, I know they looked at it, they seen it, and at some point looking through my profile, they're like, man, you did it. And I appreciate every last one of those guys.
Look, Samuel, sounds like you got a lot of people there, a great circle of people that support you and they believe in you. Look, have a great time, like I said. Enjoy your fight, enjoy the weekend, and thank you very much for speaking with us.
Awesome, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Anytime.
And we hope you all enjoyed this week. We certainly did. We had a great time. And we just want to get you, before you go, jump on your social networking sites and give these people a follow. We have MMA Scotland. We have on Facebook UFC Wreckage, Also, their website and Twitter is MMA Wreckage.
We also have MMA UK, and their Twitter handle is We Are MMA UK.
On Facebook, we have Fighting and MMA.
And on Facebook and Twitter, we have The Real MMA Talk.
And then last but not least, on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, they're funny. They talk about MMA. It's funny MMA. Jump on. They'll give you a giggle. And let's finish off with thank you very much, everyone. We will be back very soon, won't we, Mike?
Yep, definitely. Thank you very much, and goodbye.